Hey kids, it's time to get some SML Podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I'm your host, Joe. Joining me, as usual, Cole Martin. How are you doing today?
I'm alive, and that's as good as we go from here.
we should probably explain why, as we are recording this, it is 5 a.m. for us, because we are being joined from Zoink Games. Alexandra Dahlberg, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. It's not as early for me, so I'm alive.
It's what, 10 o'clock for you right now?
Yeah. That's a reasonable hour, I think.
What's the sun look like? I don't know what it looks like right now.
Oh, I barely know. I haven't seen it for such a long time. I can't even. I was sitting in this room with the sun just flowing into the window, and it's just amazing.
Oh boy, yeah. Zoink has been
dark.
We have to pipe the sunshine in.
Yeah, but it's been winter here for like forever now. It's just been half a year of darkness, and now the sun is coming back, and it's like a shock.
So you're in Sweden, right?
Yeah, correct.
Are there long winters over there?
Oh yeah, it gets dark sometime in maybe late September, and the light comes back maybe in March. So it's just like,
oh boy.
Yeah. But the summers are really nice. So, and the winters, as long as it's snowy in the winters, it gets quite light. So because of all the snow. But now I live in the southern parts of Sweden, which doesn't get any snow, so it's just depressing.
That's what my past couple of weeks has been. Weather has been just insane worldwide, it seems. Like a week ago, it was in the 70s, and today they're calling for 5 inches of snow.
It was in the 70s 2 days ago, and now they're giving 4 foot of snow. They're just like, we don't know. It might snow here. It might not. You're in the mountains. Good luck. And I'm just like, hey, well, I have a snowsuit and an umbrella and a boat just in case.
Ready to go.
Because you don't know. You don't know.
I had to look it up quick. That's about 21 degrees Celsius.
Oh, well, that's...
So it makes a bit more sense to you.
Yeah, I was like 70. Yeah, I'm sure that's something.
Yeah, we're on fire. Now I want to look up what 70 Celsius translates to in Fahrenheit. Oh, 158 degrees. Yeah, that would be a little bit toasty.
Yeah, a little bit.
If it was 70 Celsius.
In the summer here, it gets really damn close to that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So anyway, you're here to talk about some games. Zoink has been incredibly busy lately, it seems. We've pronounced it about a dozen different ways on this show before. Give us the proper way to say this game, since you're the company that made it. How wrong are we?
Okay. So this is how, if you should say it in Swedish, which it's a Swedish word. It means fairy. And we read it a little bit like the guardian of the forest thing. And in Swedish, it's Fia.
Fia. All right.
Fia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, yeah, Cole,
That's
we've
good.
been wrong this
You did
entire
a good,
time.
Right. But she said we could redneck it and just say Faye, and it was good.
Yeah, that works too. That's been my guess the whole time. Faye.
Yeah, it's well, I was wrong because when I saw it on E3 initially, I was like, oh, it's Fee. Because I'm dumb.
Who would have imagined that a word of 2 letters, a word with 2 letters would be so hard to pronounce?
Yeah.
Well, I know pre-release, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to have something to do with strength and iron. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's it, guys.
So there are some iron. The silent ones are quite like metally, I guess, but that's not where it comes from. But I've heard some really great explanations for why it should be iron around on Reddit and what. So it's always fun to hear people speculate and wondering about what we really mean. We barely know ourselves. So,
well, for the people who don't know what the game is, give us the sales pitch quick. What is Faye?
Oh, the elevator pitch. Okay. Faye is about, you start at the game as a little creature, a little fox-like creature, you might say, waking up in a forest glade. And you don't really know who you are or where you are or what's happening at all. And then you just start exploring, and get to explore this big forest and meet the creatures who live there and try to communicate with them. It's a lot about communication, this game. Communication with nature and other animals, and also the silent ones, which are like a new force that just arrived to this forest that seems to be breaking a bit of a havoc in it and not really treating it nicely. So it's up to you to try to fight back and make the world a home again, the forest a home again. So that's in a nutshell, I guess.
Nice. Cole, I know you put a lot of time into the game since you're the one who covered it. I figure if anyone's going to start out with questions, it should be you. Plus, I'm going to take a nap.
No, if I'm awake, you have to wake up too. One of my biggest questions was what kind of struggles were involved with coming up with how you it's early and I'm struggling for words. How you linked Faye and the other animals that he or she, is it a boy or a girl?
Unknown.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's Faye. It's not male or female. It's Faye.
It's a Faye.
The struggle with like deciding how to link their voices when they are communicating, how to display that and how to make that come alive for the player. What was involved in that?
Well, the whole thing started with us not wanting to put any actual conversations into the game. We didn't want a lot of pop-up text all over the place and a lot of tutorials with a lot of like text boxes and stuff. But we still wanted to be able to for the player to be able to communicate with the other creatures in the forest, and that's why we came up with this singing mechanic, where it's like you can still communicate, you can talk in a sense, but you can't really say any words. You just need to like go more on feeling, kind of. So, and then it was a lot up to our sound designer Joel, who's made both the music and the sound for the game, and he's really amazing. And he worked a lot with these, just trying to get a feel for how it should feel when you're singing to the other animals, and how you should know when you're on the right, because you need to find like the same pitch as the other animal, you might say. You need to try to line up your voices, and there's a lot of super technical musical terms involved that I don't know, but it's there are a bunch of different harmonies that like get together, and then they add some kind of strokes on a violin that just sync up real nice, and some kind of a lot of vibrations and stuff. So yeah, that you should like just feel when you're getting close to the right tone in your voice. So you actually wrote a really interesting blog post about that. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, you can check out the website for the game, and you will find the blog post there. And he will just like explain in detail how he created the sound for this song mechanic. So yeah, we just tried to find a way that made the player that they could feel for themselves through the sound when they were connecting with the animal, and hopefully we managed to do that.
Nice. And
I think you guys did an incredible job. Like
thank you.
Like you said, when you're communicating with Faye and the animal, you actually feel when you're at the right. I've been using pitch and tone interchangeably because I'm musically challenged, but you feel when you've hit the note correctly. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I'm there. This is a sweet spot. So it really does fit right.
Yeah, that's
it is such a good use of the rumble mechanic in the game.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The rumble is there, of course, as well to help you, like guide you. If you're going in the total wrong direction, it will tell you.
How well does that translate to the Switch version? Because I know the Switch has HD rumble. I've only been able to play it on the Xbox myself, so I'm curious how that works with the HD rumble on the Switch.
Yeah, it's a little bit more sophisticated on the Switch. You can feel more details in the song, and it's also a little. I think the rumble is a little different for each animal on the Switch, which we can't really do on the other platforms.
What is the difference in the... I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of this stuff, but what's the difference in the rumble and how it works between the Switch and other platforms? What makes it HD?
Oh, it's just like I have no idea about the technical terms or anything, but it's just like that you can. I think it's just so amazing that you can like feel it moving. Like you can go from the right to the left and between your hands, and you can make it like for Stick It to the Man. We did this spinning thing. When you read people's mind, you can feel the rumble spin in circles between your hands, which is really cool. And I just feel it's like it's not a super huge feature, but it does something, just add a nice touch to every game that it's used in, I think.
I don't understand how Nintendo comes up with these features and how they're so neat to feel in action. Yeah, there really is. I know the first time I tried the Switch before it was released at this Nintendo event here in Sweden, I got to play the One to Switch game where you use one Joy-Con and you can move it, and you're supposed to count the marbles that's inside. That's not inside, but that's supposedly inside with the help of the HD rumble. And I could really like feel the marbles rolling around in it, and just like when they touch the button, like clicking, like ding, ding, ding. And I was like, wow, this is the future. This is so cool. Man, I have not played 1-2 Switch, and you just telling me about that makes me want to pick it up cheap.
Yeah, it's not my favorite game for the Switch, but just for the HD rumble part, I think it really shows up what you can do with it.
Well, time to look at GameStop and see how cheap it's getting.
Yeah, true that.
I didn't even know HD rumble was a thing.
Oh yeah, on the Switch, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it either. It feels different than normal rumble, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Somebody needs to use the whole, what is that, Labo?
Oh, Nintendo Labo.
Use that to make one of the big surrealist giant deer from Faye.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be so cool. I'm really excited about what do you call it? Labo.
Mm-hmm.
I think Labo.
Labo.
Yeah.
Oh, like
I just pronounced the redneck version of it.
It looks really cool. I wish my kid was older so I could buy it for her, but I can buy it for myself instead, so it's fine.
Yeah, you could buy it for yourself and claim you're buying it for the kid.
Yeah.
That's just the excuse to do it.
Yeah, it's the perk of being a parent.
Oh man, I had a different word in mind, but it's early and I can't think right now. I like doing early shows just because I feel stupider than usual.
Yeah, that's always nice.
And my show specializes in stupid, so.
Oh, great. That is perfect.
So Cole, what other questions do you have? I want to make sure that you get all yours out of the way so you're not yelling at me for stepping on when you're asking things.
Well, yeah, I would yell at you, but it's early and I'm struggling.
So you'll just blink angrily at me.
Yeah, basically. You can ask all the questions you want because I probably don't even remember I have the question until you ask it right now.
Probably. So I guess my question is, what are the challenges in creating a game with so little text and so little actual communication that's not done outside of music?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of challenges, I think. I'm going to say that. For once, it's just about trying to find this perfect amount of hand-holding where the player doesn't get too confused for not getting instructions, but still feel like they have control over the situation. Some earlier playtests that we did made us realize that people, when we didn't include a map from the start because we felt like we wanted to keep it as clean as possible. We just wanted it to be you in a forest. That's it. No on-screen information or anything. But we realized that people tended to not daring to explore when we did that, because when they didn't have a map, they didn't know how to get back to where they have started. And that made them feel like they didn't dare to do that. And they just stayed on the main route and didn't go out to check out secrets and stuff. So we've had to do a lot of things like that. We'll just iterate on what we've been doing. Is this really the way to go? And in the case of the map, we realized that no, we need to have a map because that will make people more free to explore. So we made a lot of like back and forth like that, trying to find a right balance. And I know some people still think it's a little bit hard to just like being dropped into the game and not getting any instructions. And some people feel frustrated about that, but it's always going to be like that. People have different preferences. But I really enjoy just like, here's the world, you take it on in your own pace, in your own way. And if you don't want to follow the deer in the beginning, that's fine. You go and do something else and you'll find it eventually, and you can just do your thing.
Yeah, so definitely a game where it's easy to get lost in just exploring in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and we also added the waypoints on the map that you can choose to turn off if you don't want that kind of like hints on where you're supposed to go. If you want to be totally free to roam around, you can just turn them off. It's up to you, the player, really. So, yeah, and we also added some small tutorials where we use text if we felt like it was really necessary. But otherwise, we tried to make like from the start, you just see this deer in the distance running away and you feel like, oh, I should probably follow that. Interesting. Let's see where it goes. And we try to use a lot of those kind of solutions to like guide the player without throwing it in their face what they should do.
I was the complete opposite. As soon as I started and I saw the deer, I'm like, what's over here?
The game wants me to go left. Let's go right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's totally fine to do that, and it doesn't. And you might explore something else and find some secrets instead. So we really want people to be able to make that choice for themselves.
One of my favorite things, though, is when I felt like I was getting lost. And I'm one of those people, I can't find my way. I have a wet paper bag with a flashlight and a hammer. So I get lost easily because I have some serious shiny object syndrome. And I just want to wander off and look at things. And then, like, I would be completely lost and be like, I have no idea where I'm at. You can call for a bird to come tell you where to go. Yeah. And that is the most amazing thing ever. Like, I can look at a map and be like, I still don't know how I got here. But the little birds just leave a happy little pink trail of go this way, dummy. Yeah. And that's the best thing I've ever seen in a game. Like, you can use it or not, but I used it a lot.
Yeah, I did too. Well, I really like the bird because it's like, it was a way for us to show the way without interfering with the world. It's still like one of the animals helping you out, so you don't have to put out on any extra artificial layers. You just talk to the animals like you do otherwise as well, and find your way. Hopefully, that's the big question. The hopefully.
Yeah, because even with the birds, I still got lost. It was okay because it was beautiful to wander around in the world, and you're just like, everything's so pretty. Why am I here?
What am I doing?
This really is a stunning game. Who are the art designers who created such a beautiful world?
Well, the art director for the game is Andreas Beyer here at Zoink. He's been doing a lot of games here before Fe. It's just been around for a long time. And there are also some other amazing people, like all the murals in the game, all the stone designs are done by a guy called Olav, who's a concept artist. And we have, I don't want to forget anyone. We have Martin, does a lot of cool 3D stuff. And the whole team is just amazing. And if people are interested in things like that, they should check out our Twitter account because we have this list of all the people working at Zoink. So you can check out the list and just go follow whoever seems interesting to you. I think it's a lot of fun following people in game dev to see what they're up to.
Yeah, I like following as many people as I can. It's fun to see what pops up on my timeline every now and then, because obviously a lot of game developers are from, not from America. So it's fun to just browse my timeline and be like, English, Japanese. Ooh, that's a different one. English, is that Norwegian maybe? I don't know. It's always fun.
Well, English for the translate button.
Yeah, the translate button on Twitter is really great. So simple.
Save so much time and effort instead of highlighting text and then going to translate.google, entering it. Just automatic. Love it.
So Joe brought up the the art for the world, but I want to talk about the character design for Faye.
Yeah.
He's a pretty unique looking little creature. How did we get to that?
The original design for Faye was actually done by a girl called Stina, who used to work on Faye in the early days of it, together with Klaus, our CEO. And in the beginning, there's a lot of different designs, but I think that a lot of inspiration actually came from a tree from the start, because Faye could, in the early versions, could transform itself to a tree. Just like if you want to hide from the silent ones, you just press the button and you became this little tree creature. And that didn't make it to the final game, but that's like where all the spikes come from, I think.
Oh, so you can't turn into a tree anymore, but you can totally hide in a bush that looks like you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's
so
like
it's pretty similar.
Yeah. You can actually play the version where you turn into a tree in Zombie Vikings, because there's a demo of an old test version of Faye hidden in there. And there you can still turn into a tree, so that's pretty cool.
I had no idea there was a demo hidden in Zombie Vikings.
What?
Yeah. It is. It's one of the quests, I think, I don't remember which world right now. One of the first worlds, when you can get a special pickaxe after a while, and if you go back, you can break down a wall, and then you enter this weird, I think you eat a mushroom and enter this weird dream that is Faye. And then you can play like a small level, and it looks quite similar, but some things are very different as well, like the tree thing. And the camera is really weird because it's like the opposite of what people usually have. I don't remember what it's called. But it's a lot of fun to check out. It's just like the early days of Faye.
That's really cool. We're learning things on this show.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Because my kid has played Zombie Vikings a lot, and I had no idea that was there.
Yeah, it is in there. You can find, I think you can find a tutorial on YouTube if you want to find it where it's hidden.
Man, I'm going to have to look that up now.
Yeah, you do that.
Now I have homework for after the show.
Yeah, that's great. Love homework.
I'm not in school anymore. Why are you doing this to me?
The school is the best part of your life.
So I brought up the visuals. Zoink has always had a very unique style with all of their games. Does Zoink have any kind of art books in production or available or planned that we might be able to pick up eventually? Because I love the artwork in Zoink's titles.
Thank you. Well, we've been talking about this a lot, actually. We recently made a comic book, a short little Faye comic book. Printed. I think we're gonna do a contest quite soon where you can win some of those. But we're also gonna do. We really want to do like a big art book sometime, either for one of the games or for all our games. We were actually talking about doing some kind of a Kickstarter to see if we could like finance it that way. See if people are interested.
Could I just say fuck yes? I would be interested.
Yeah, that's good. We have one sale.
Wait, I'm in. Let me know when the Kickstarter starts. I will throw my money at you for that.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, how can we rig this contest so that I win a comic book?
Let's talk about that after the show with the camera, when the microphone's not on.
It's okay. No one's listening. Yeah, such gorgeous style in all the games. Zombie Vikings was one that we mentioned. Is that still coming to the Switch? I know it was announced a while ago. Is that still being worked on?
Oh yeah, we never really announced it, but we like did a trial run trying to make we made it work on the Switch, and we were like asking people, are you interested in this at all? And people seemed to be really interested. Then we got to a point where we like had to decide: should we do Zombie Vikings or should we do Stick It to the Man? And we realized that Zombie Vikings it might not look like it, but it's a really heavy game for multiple reasons. So we would have had to cut out the online part and also make it like 2-player only, I believe, to make it run well through the whole game. And we felt like we didn't want the Switch version to be like inferior to other versions. So then we would have liked to added something extra for the Switch players, and we weren't really sure what we wanted that to be. So in the end, we decided to go with Stick to the Man because it was just an easier first project on the Switch. It's not as heavy to run, and we made it run really smooth and look really good. So yeah, so right now we don't have any plans to keep working on the Switch version for Zombie Vikings. It just felt a bit too heavy for the platform.
It makes sense. I know the Switch is more limited than the other consoles in total power.
Yeah, and it's just we have newer games that we totally can make work, but it's just like the multiplayer online part that really makes it another level.
So newer games like what?
No, I don't know. Maybe Flipping Death.
Flipping Death? What is Flipping Death?
Yeah, what is Flipping Death? Well, Flipping Death is kind of the spiritual successor to Stick to the Man for the people who play that. And it's not a sequel. You don't have to play Stick to the Man to play Flipping Death. But it's it has the same art style, the same feel to it. It's the same kind of a game. It's like a puzzle platformer adventure game. Where you play as Penny, who just died and got a job temping for Death while he's on vacation. So you go around and chat to all these different ghosts and try to help them with their last wishes before they will pass on to the next world. And so what you do, when you take on this temp job, you get Death's Scythe, actually, and that makes you gives you a bunch of powers. Like you can possess people in the living world. So all the people in your old hometown where you used to live, you can just take over their bodies and control them and read their minds and move their arms and legs in whichever way you feel is necessary. So that's quite fun. So that's the whole premise of the game, really.
Now, I first saw Flipping Death, I think a year or so ago when Nintendo was showing it off as a Switch title. What's the progress coming like on that game? Is that planned for this year sometime?
Yeah, definitely. We're doing polish right now. So it's planned for this spring, but we haven't really set a date yet because we want to make sure we know exactly where we will end up.
Now, is that going to be a Switch exclusive, or is it hitting other platforms as well?
It's other platforms as well. It's all the major platforms. It's Xbox and PlayStation and Switch and Steam.
Nice. I love it when games hit everything.
Mac, I believe. Both PC and Mac.
Nice. So you're covering all the bases.
Yeah. Trying to.
Are we going to see it on like the Virtual Boy, the Panasonic 3DO? You got to Dreamcast. Got to cover all the bases.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to convince someone to do a Virtual Boy release just because of my dumb jokes on the show.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure. Well, VR is hot now, so.
And is Zoink working on anything with VR capability?
We're actually I don't know if you heard about our whole Thunderful company with Image and Form, but we recently started Klaus and the Image and Form CEO Brian just started an umbrella company called Thunderful that owns both Zoink and Image and Form, our sister company. And when we announced that, we also talked a little bit about us working with a VR project. So that's actually something we're doing right now, experimenting a bit. But we don't really have much more to say than that.
I honestly had no clue that you were sister companies and that you're pretty much together on it. Can you yell at them to like bring SteamWorld Heist to Xbox already, please?
Oh yeah, I will totally do that. We're actually moving in together in the same office this summer, so that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Just hope that they like clear their dishes and just behave, stuff like that. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Friggin' new people don't know how to clean up after themselves.
Yeah, but we're getting this new office that's like 5 times the size of our old offices, so it's going to be crazy, but very spacey and roomy.
Yeah, yell at them. Tell them to finally get SteamWorld Heist on Xbox. I know it was planned for a while, and then they're like, oh, we got to put it on hold because we're focusing on Dig 2. I want Heist on Xbox. Excuses. Seriously, I said the same thing.
That's just lazy devs.
I'm glad you're on my side with this one. It's never fun seeing consoles and gamers left out from a game.
No.
So that's why I'm excited. Flipping Death's going to hit everything.
Yeah, all the directions, all the way.
So how is the game going to differ with Flipping Death between the Switch and between PlayStation and Xbox?
We don't really have many platform-specific features. the game runs really well on the Switch, so I don't think you'll notice any big. Of course, it's not as it doesn't have the same force as the other platforms, but I really like. I prefer to play most games on the Switch just because I like to be able to carry around the game with me, So right now, I don't think there aren't really any big differences. I'd say it's just
I wasn't sure if Flipping Death had any kind of like touch screen mechanics or not.
No, not really. No, it hasn't. I'm not sure. Maybe you can use a touchscreen for some things if you'd like to, but it's not like something that we've been focusing on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic, though. I've been eyeing this one up for quite a while, so I'm happy to hear that it's looking for a spring release.
Yeah, let's fingers crossed that nothing breaks down.
Just massive bugs show up in the last week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That happens at all studios at all times, I think.
Hey, it's the magic of video games. Things just happen.
The class is actually at GDC right now, showing Flipping Death with Xbox, and people seem to really enjoy it, from what I can gather on Twitter. So that's a lot of fun to hear.
Nice. I am very sad I'm not at GDC. I've had a lot of friends asking if I was going, and one of these years I'll get there and I'll get to meet people that work on all these games instead of just talking on Skype all the time.
Yeah, sure. I've never been to GDC, but it seems like a lot of fun. We're going to PAX soon, so if anyone listening is going to PAX East, just stop by and play some Flipping and Faye, and we will be there.
Oh man, there's another reason for me to go to PAX East.
Yeah.
I've been hoping to make that one happen money-wise, but I guess we'll see. If you see a big dude with a bald head and a big beard drop by, probably wearing a wrestling shirt, and he's bugging you about the Faye comics and how he could win one, it's probably me.
I'll keep an eye out for sure.
Oh, man. So Faye just released, Flipping Death is on the way. What else is going on at Zoink?
Well, right now we're in the phase where we just try a lot of different stuff out to see what our next project or projects will be. So we're doing a lot of prototyping, a lot of concept art, a lot of pitching material, and we'll see where we land, really. And also working on this VR thing that I mentioned before. So just trying stuff out, and
so is the VR
hopefully
thing,
we'll come up with some awesome things.
Is the VR thing still like conceptual stages, or is it like we have an idea and this is going to happen?
Well, we definitely have an idea. Can't say much more than that, but we have an idea. Well, let's see how it works out.
Do you have platforms in mind for it yet, or are you just aiming to hit all the VR platforms?
I don't have details like that yet. No.
All right. Because the only one I have access to is PlayStation VR, so my fingers are crossed it'll show up there, whatever it is.
I'll keep that in mind.
Cole, you've been quiet. Do you have anything to ask? I feel bad hogging up all the time.
Yeah, terrible, Joe. You should feel bad. I wanted to ask, Faye was published under Electronic Arts, or EA, as everybody knows, EA's Originals program. Is that something that Zoink will be partnering with them with again, or was that a one-time thing?
I don't know. We haven't really, since we haven't gotten really far with any of our projects, we're not really sure about who and how we will publish them, but we really enjoyed working with the Originals team. They were so nice and really helpful, and that program, I don't think people have really understood how great that program is, because it's like you get all this support from EA, who has they have a lot of, say what you want about EA, but they have a lot of knowledge about the business. They've been in business for a long time. And we actually get to keep all the revenue from the game. They help us with all the marketing and stuff like that. And when all expenses are paid and the revenue counts, all of that goes to the studio. So it's really about making sure indie students can make games that we wouldn't really have been able to without this support. Faye wouldn't have been the same size if we hadn't had this EA support. It would have been a much simpler game. So so it's really great. And they totally have kept out all the creative parts of it. They just they given ideas and thoughts, and came back with helped us get the game tested in a way that we haven't been able to before, because they have much more resources. But they haven't. But they've left all the creative decisions, all the final decisions to us. So that's been really great and a big freedom for us to be able to make our game the game we want to do, and just have their support. So I think we definitely would like to work with them again. It's been a great experience for us.
So they weren't screaming at you to add loot boxes?
No, not even once, actually.
All right, so the question is, if you had to add loot boxes to Faye,
yeah,
what would you put in them?
I would definitely add more song styles for the animals. Like you can have the metal sound or the hip hop sound,
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
She was prepared for that question. She had a little note with that one. She was like, I know this is going to come up.
I'm wondering if you already started planning loot boxes just in case EA was like, yeah, you're going to have to add these in. It's like, well, we got an idea for it. Might as well.
Yeah. No, we've been joking a lot about this because it's just it's been a big thing for the past year. So the question has come up before, but there were no discussions like that surrounding Phase. Just not the kind of game where you could incorporate that in any way that makes sense,
Could
it would
we
have been a little immersion breaking to just be trying to connect with an animal, and then a loot box just falls beside it.
It's like, please pay 20 Faye bucks to open this loot box.
Yeah.
Is there any chance we could see any additional song styles as DLC for the game? Because now you have me curious.
Yeah, no, we actually haven't had any. We don't have any extra material planned. If there's a lot of people asking for it, maybe we'll do something fun at some point. But right now we're just focusing on coming up with new ideas for new cool games, and also we're making a patch for the game to fixing some issues that people are running into. But that's only removing weird technical stuff.
So I should not set any money aside for a Polka DLC pack.
No, I don't think you will have to.
Damn it. I was all ready to just save up my money and buy whatever music packs came out.
That's Joe's favorite thing to buy.
Music stuff, yes.
More music packs.
Yeah.
I think everyone
you can buy the soundtrack though. We just released it last week, so it's out there.
Oh, where?
It's you can buy it on Bandcamp, and you can also listen to it on Spotify, and it's on Apple Music and Google Play and all the regular places.
So I have to confess, I already had it on my Spotify.
I have to jump on Bandcamp and find this then.
Yeah, do that.
It's really good music too. I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah. You would have done the music. He also made the music for Stick It to the Man and Zombie Vikings. And all those three games are so different from each other. So it's really interesting how it just pulls off every genre, I think. Will
they be working on Flipping Death as well?
No, since we were doing the music for Flipping Death and Fear at the same time, it was a bit of a lot to do both at once. So he helped us find a couple of friends of his, a jazz band thing, who makes the music for Flipping, and they're really cool. So it's going to be great as well.
I like that you could tell I have a real issue with music games and rhythm games when one of the comments says she really doesn't understand how serious he was about the polka comment. Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to you and see what he can do with the polka thing.
See, I'd pay for that. I would pay for more music styles in the game. It doesn't need to be a free update. I'm the guy who would pay. I'm the problem, I guess.
You pay for everyone.
I'm in. I'm down. Let's do it. God, I have problems. So I'm guessing you've shown off Faye many times at different events. Do you have any fun stories from a PAX or an E3 of someone who played the game and was either particularly good at the game or particularly bad at the game?
We've actually never shown Faye on an exhibition or any kind of thing. Not for regular people. Because it was we didn't want to reveal too much about the game beforehand because a lot of it's about exploring and noticing new secrets and stuff. So we did some behind closed doors showings at Gamescom. for press and stuff, so they can make some early write about some early thoughts on it. But they didn't even get to play either. It was Hugo, the producer of the game, and also creative director. He played the game in front of people. We had like this little very dark room, like we call it the fear cave, where like 10 people could sit and watch him play the game for 50 minutes and then ask questions. So when we are going to show it now at PAX, and that will actually be the first time we show it, and now it's already released. So it was a different approach for us because we're used to just like showing the game everywhere. Like with Flipping Death, we've definitely done that. But we tried a new approach and see how that worked. And I don't know, I think it was more well suited for a game like Fear with a lot of secrets that you shouldn't know too much when you go into it. Makes sense. Any fun stories from Flipping Death or any other Zoink games that you've shown off? I just love hearing fun stories. Yeah, they're always like, so at PAX there are a lot of kids there, and especially at Gamescom there's a lot of kids, and a lot of them bring their parents who know nothing about games, and then they just stop by and think, okay, well, my kid is playing, I'm gonna play too, and they never make it past the tutorial. And that's always it's a bit frustrating to stand here looking at something, trying to jump up on a platform and not making it in like 5 minutes, and you just like want to take the controller and like help them out. Oh my god, what's wrong with you? Hit the button. Yeah. But they've never even held a controller before, and it's like just button press, and then when they need to combine walking and jumping, it gets really complicated. So. Oh man, and I bet those people even played like Atari when they were kids, so they have no excuse. No, there's no excuse. Just go play games. Maybe they're just playing it up for their kids. Frustration. Yeah, maybe. The kids are like, I watch my husband play games, and I'm like, how do you not know how to use the controller better than that? What is your malfunction? What is wrong with you? Oh, man. Well, I know we've been chatting for a while. Cole, do you have any other questions? Or Alexandra, is there anything that you wanted to talk about with, Fea or Flipping Death or anything else that we haven't brought up? No, not really. Can just also mention that we're also going to be, I believe, at EGX Rest in London. So if anyone's around there, just come and check out Flipping Death there. And you can always follow us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and we're all over the place, Zoink Games. And that's where you will learn all the news first, I'd say. Nice, cool. Any plans to be at E3? We might be. We haven't really finalized our plans yet. We're just starting to talk about that. So if we are, we'll definitely tell people. Dark Mika in chat is asking, any other games like Fea planned for the future? Like Fea, that depends on what you mean, but we definitely plan on doing more full 3D games. So we really enjoyed working with that on Fea, so we'll definitely do something like that again. Cool. Yeah. Paul, anything else? Nope. Cool. Well, I guess we could wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It was nice being here. Would you like to give us all the sales pitches and all the info on where we could keep up to date with what you're doing, where we could keep in touch with Zoink and everything else? I know you kind of touched on it with talking about Twitter, but give us all the details. Yeah. Well, you can find our games all over the place. Like we just released Stick to the Man on the Switch not too long ago, and Fea. We released on all the platforms just recently. You'll find it on Origin on PC. And we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Zoink Games, and you can find me on Twitter. My handle is That's Great Alex. And I think that covers it. Oh, we're trying to getting better at Instagram again, so you can find us there as well. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me on Twitter, and I'll try to answer to my very best ability. Sounds good. I gotta try doing the Instagram one of these days myself. Everyone tells me that, you need an Instagram. It's really going to help the show. How's a site about photos going to help an audio podcast? Well, you can just take pictures of your cat. I see you have one in your profile picture here. Oh, God. I have so many cats. That cat in my picture is actually one of the emotes we just got over on our Twitch channel. Oh, nice.
So my poor
My
noodle
cat was randomly purring throughout the whole show. Like he just randomly come up to the mic and headbutt me and then wander off.
My cats just through the show have been walking over and like clawing at my leg like, hey, it's 6 a.m. Are you going to feed us?
What are you doing up?
Like
That's
we're
basically Gabriel.
we want food and you're just sitting at your desk. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, man.
Gabriel's like, if it's not breakfast time, we need to go back to bed.
That's
Of course, he's only like 4 months old, so.
Oh, man. Well, Alexandra, again, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Everyone else, stick around. We're going to take a quick break, be back with more show. Alexandra, do you have any final words to end the interview?
No.
He
Thanks
sticks
for
all
having
of
me.
us
And if anyone listening played our games, thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And we really appreciate people just talking to us on social media and whatever. It makes us so happy. So keep doing that.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Cole, you're still here. How are you doing?
I'm always here.
Now that we're fucking awake in the brief few minutes that just passed, magically.
And not recovering from a stomach virus, because that was fun.
Magically, as if days had passed, but in reality, days have in fact passed since 2 minutes ago.
Like maybe I don't know what, 30 some odd hours.
Something like that. I don't know. This is
amazing what a little sleep can do for you.
This is the most amount of times in an episode that I reference other parts of an episode because, shocker, we have some pre-recorded reviews later in the show, but I talk about other reviews during those reviews and then stuff I haven't even talked about yet in those reviews. So we're breaking all the walls down tonight, but we do have some news, some reviews, and we even have a giveaway to get to today. So what do you say we dive into this stuff?
I like giving shit away. Let's do, especially when it's not my shit to give away. Well, that's even better. So let's get there.
The shit giving is later on. We have other non-giveaway shit.
You're gonna make me do work before I get to the fun part?
Yes.
Fuck.
What are you talking about? This entire show is the fun part.
That's true, but you're working me to death, Joe. I can't handle this. How am I supposed to bitch if you make it all seem like it's fun and games?
Fucking fine then. Do you have any news you want to talk about this week? We'll start with you.
No, because you took it away from me.
I was trying to give it back, goddammit. So, any news you want to talk about?
Is doing a thing. You want to talk about that?
What's THQ Nordic up to?
THQ Nordic is reviving 16 old Nickelodeon titles.
Say what?
Yeah. Do you want to ramble them all off?
Do you not have the list?
I have the list, but I know I'm going to pronounce them funny, and I don't want to do it.
That kind of makes me want you to do it even more.
Nope.
So yeah, THQ Nordic announced a new partnership with Nickelodeon to bring back a number of the classic THQ's Nick games, which I find interesting that new THQ keeps buying up and bringing back old THQ properties. I love that.
It really is amazing.
It's like they're just trying to be THQ again. But the titles that were mentioned, I don't know what specific games are going to be brought back, but the properties mentioned are Avatar: The Last Airbender. So if the Burning Earth comes back, maybe we'll have another fresh, easy 1,000 gamer score out of 5 achievements, like the first game. Back at the Barnyard, Cat Scratch, Danny Phantom, El Tigre, Invader Zim, Jimmy Neutron. Why am I saying Johnny? My Life as a Teenage Robot, Rocket Power, Rocco's Modern Life, Rugrats, SpongeBob SquarePants, Tack and the Power of Juju, The Fairly Odd Parents, US only, apparently, Ren and Stimpy Show, and The Wild Thornberries. So all of those properties either, I don't know if they're going to do any new games or just bring back classics, but I guess we'll find out in coming months.
I don't care as long as we get a Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence mini game.
That would be incredible.
Do you remember that from Ren and Stimpy?
Don't whiz on the electric fence.
Yes! We need that. And also a log mini game because it's big, it's round, and it's wood.
It's better than bad, it's good.
Yep. So that's just all I need. I don't know. I'm afraid of what a Rocco game would be like because if you remember, Rocco worked at a fucking sex line. So, I mean, there's a lot of room for error with a Rocco game, but you can't go wrong with Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence and Log.
Yeah, hey, you never know. We maybe we'll see some brand new games. That would be cool. I would love to see some brand new Rocco games or, I enjoyed Barnyard. I thought that was a cool movie.
I think I already had kids by the time Back at the Barnyard came out. I don't remember it. Like, it might have been when number one was still too little to pay attention to shit, and so I still got away with, like, watching R-rated movies around her.
Oh, God.
And didn't have to watch kid movies for a while there.
I didn't have kids at all. I just like children's movies, so... The other bit of news I have this week is they mentioned which games are going to be leaving Game Pass at the end of the month, but funny enough, they didn't announce the new ones yet. Like, I'm so used. We know one of them.
One that's coming. Yeah.
So they revealed during the whole Inside Xbox spectacular they did that City Skylines is going to be joining Game Pass in April. They didn't mention any of the other games though, and normally during the week we'll get games with gold or Game Pass or backward compatibility. We didn't get shit this week. I'm guessing it's because of GDC. But even GDC didn't bring too much news, but the games that are leaving Game Pass, I'm sure we'll have more info next week on what's joining. A World of Keflings, Comic Zone, Hexic 2, Jetpack Refueled, Cube, Ms.Splosion Man, Stacking, The Maw, and Roundabout.
I didn't even know some of those were there, and I have Game Pass. So I'm not overwhelmingly upset about any of these.
Here's my concern with this. How many of those are Microsoft Studios published titles? And why are they leaving?
Are any of them Microsoft? Oh, yeah. Keflings is.
Keflings, Hexic 2, Jetpack is fucking rare. Ms.Splosion Man, that was published by Microsoft when Twisted Pixel was still under Microsoft's banner. The Maw, like these are Microsoft Studios published titles. Why are they leaving?
Why are they pulling them out? And they're most of them are older 360.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a license thing. I don't know if it's one of those issues where Microsoft didn't own the IP. Like when they split with the company, they're like, okay, you could have all your IP back. Even still, why is Jetpack being pulled? Rare owns Jetpack. Microsoft owns Rare. What the fuck?
I don't know. That is an odd list now that you...
Yeah. So that is my concern. People are talking about, Sea of Thieves is part of Game Pass. All future first-party games and exclusives are going to be part of Game Pass. How long are they going to be part of Game Pass? Like, everyone has kind of assumed that Sea of Thieves, it's in Game Pass and it'll never leave.
Well, because they did make a statement that it would be, a permanent fixture, though.
Yeah, that the games, adding these first-party games would be a permanent fixture. I don't think
they said they did. There was a big thing with Mikey Barra, and he was like, yeah, they're there. That's that.
Well, I hope that's true, because this batch of games leaving worries me. Like Comic Zone, I can understand, since Sega's doing a new Genesis collection. And
I was thinking Keflings would probably be an issue with the new avatars.
Maybe.
If new avatars are coming in April as rumored.
But then that wouldn't affect anything from the 360.
Keflings. Well, but Keflings uses avatars, so...
But they use your 360 avatars. I don't think these new avatars are going to be part of the 360 at all. But maybe they couldn't
make it work because of the backward compatible. Like, maybe it clashed somehow.
I don't know.
That's still not going to affect... That still would leave people who like me who actually own it. But
yeah, I don't get it. The biggest one that confuses me is Jetpack. The others I could always chalk up as like, oh, well, Microsoft doesn't own Keflings. It's been on other platforms. I think they might have a new one that's multi-platform coming out. Splosion Man, they're not with Twisted Pixel anymore. They're independent. Maybe they own Splosion Man now. Jetpack. And even Hexic. Hexic was created by that was a first-party internal Microsoft game. I would imagine Hexic 2, also first-party Microsoft. Why is it leaving? That is what I want to know. Son of a bitch.
I don't know.
Me neither. You know what I do know? We got shit to give away.
Wait, stop. That was a bad segue because I wanted to stop.
Okay, I'm stopping.
You got to roll that shit back a little bit.
I'm rolling.
Shit, I lost my sentence. The Independent Game Festival. Night in the Woods took home a $30,000 prize.
Ooh.
Yeah. They won a grand prize for best independent game. So that is a pretty big ordeal considering they had to delay the Switch release because of funding and stuff like that. So
it's good to hear that
they are winning $30,000.
That they did well. That is very positive news.
They won several. They won an audience award for best narrative as well. And What Remains of Edith Finch won best narrative overall. But Night in the Woods, which everybody knows I'm a big fan of, and I love Night in the Woods very much. And that's why I brought it up, because I think it deserves being a banner waved for them. They did a very good job.
That's cool. That is, it's always good to hear of studios doing well.
It was a well-deserved win, if you ask me. Nobody asked me, and I don't care. I'm still telling you, it was a well-deserved win. I ruined your segue, which was actually a good one for a change.
Before I jump on, then, any other news that you wanted to talk about before you fucking yell at me again?
Nope, I'm good now.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you positive?
Yes.
Okay, well, Carnage earlier in chat mentioned that the new X-Morph title update is out with 500 new gamer score and 10 achievements, so yay, achievements.
I've never played X-Morph.
Really? Never?
Yeah.
Probably should.
That just means Carnage is going to interrupt me even more the next time that we're on here together.
Why is my throat so...
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played X-Morph.
I hate when my throat's all shit. I'm getting sick because the weather has been absolutely fucked up. So, of course, I'm getting sick. And during most of today, my throat is fine. I start doing the show, and I just start talking like this. So, what do you say we give away some games?
Let's give shit away.
Let's give shit away. We have a handful of copies of Symmetry on the Xbox.
Nice. Symmetry's good.
Yeah, we have 4 copies of the game to give away, and we have 7 people emailing us trying to get them.
Somebody's getting disappointed.
Three peoples are going to be disappointed, but let's start off with Sydney Henry, who says, Dear the SML Podcast, first off, I should explain, we didn't just ask you to tell us why you want a certain game. I wanted to have fun with this one. So I asked you, because the game is about being on an abandoned planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were on an abandoned planet, what video game would you want to have with you?
Ooh.
That's a good one, huh? Using my noodle.
Yes.
So quick, what game would you want to have on an abandoned planet?
Me?
Yeah.
Plague Inc. Plague never gets old.
That's a
Like,
good
I
one.
can sit and play Plague Inc. until my eyes are bleeding, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. So, yeah, it would be Plague because it constantly changes.
That's definitely a good one. I would probably go with Rock Band.
I am not even a little bit surprised. But would all of your DLC count separately? Like, you wouldn't be allowed to have that. You just have the base shit?
I bought all the DLC, so why wouldn't I have it with me?
Because you said one game, and the DLC, like...
DLC's DLC, it's not a game.
Not a game, but it's bonus shit that wouldn't have been there to start with.
Like, if someone said, I don't know, Assassin's Creed Origins, I would expect them to have the DLC with it. It's just you get the game and whatever goes with the game.
Well, that makes Plague even better then, because then I get all the mods and shit. So.
Yeah, there you go. See?
It just got even better.
You know,
there.
for when we're on a hypothetical abandoned planet that we don't know exists at all.
I mean, if you've seen where I live, it's basically an abandoned planet anyway.
See, and you have all the DLC, so there. Anyway,
it's free.
First email from Sydney Henry, who says, Dear the SML Podcast, if I were to have one game on an abandoned planet, I would want to have the Steam version of Terraria with me. Not only can I have the option to explore and experience an entirely different planet in real life, but I can also roam around an infinite amount of worlds with a plethora of new things to fight, places to explore, and terrains to dig. It's like exploring a planet on another planet. I guess you could call it Planetception. Thank you for hosting this giveaway for Symmetry on Xbox One. So Terraria.
Bonus points for using plethora. I love that word.
Terraria, parentheses, plethora.
I put plethora and a little heart. It's such a good word. Okay, sorry.
No time in chat, but you need electricity on the abandoned planet or battery power and a PC or Xbox. Well, it's assuming that all that shit is there.
Recycle junk for that.
Yeah, we're now
find.
Now we're just looking for too many qualifiers here.
If that's the case, Plague Inc. still wins because there's a Plague Inc. board game.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Next email from John Harvey, who says, if I somehow found myself alone on an abandoned planet, I think gaming might be the least of my worries, at least initially. Very true. I'd probably spend the first few days running around shouting, hello, is anybody there, before coming to the realization that I was all alone. Then I'd panic. Then I'd probably start, quote, gathering supplies. Then after I got sick of looting, I'd spend the next God knows how long wandering around drunk. I like this answer so
Where
far.
did you get the alcohol? I have questions.
No, we don't have any answers here.
Plot hole. We have a device that there's a plot hole in our. This has all gone to shit.
We don't need news to have an excessively long episode.
That's because I keep pulling a carnage and interrupting shit.
Pretty much. I'd also want an answer to the question how I ended up here alone. I mean, NASA ain't sending my fat ass on an interplanetary journey, so how did I end up here? Is this planet developed? Did everyone just fuck off and leave me here alone? Or was I banished here for some perceived crime? I have questions, goddammit. So do we.
Same.
Can I expect a rescue? Does anyone even know that I'm here? Is Trump in charge of the rescue mission? Oh God, please don't let Trump be in charge of the rescue mission. I know, maybe it's a monitoring station like they have in Antarctica. You know, it's like one guy, namely me in this case, who sits in a random room listening for like Russian missiles, North Korean subs, little green men, shit like that. If that's the case, then food, water are probably supplied. So I would certainly welcome some form of entertainment. I suppose Enter the Gungeon would be a good game to take. It's difficult for a start, takes a while to get your reaction times focused and to allow muscle memory to develop. Secondly, it has different characters and numerous playthroughs are needed to get to the ending. There are loads of items to find, guns to collect, and secrets to uncover. Thirdly, I'd finally have time to, quote, get good. Because after taking a break for a while and coming back, this game is kicking my ass. Anyway, I'd love to win a copy of Symmetry for Xbox, so thanks for the chance, and good luck, everyone. Good Lord. So, Gungeon, why am I here?
Please not Trump.
Jesus, we are starting off really well.
I'm already out of room on my paper, and we're only on 2. But I drew a little bullet dude from Enter the Gungeon.
God. All right, next email from Oroto Tomato, oh Jesus, who says, what game do I want to have in case I get expelled from Earth for all of my shenanigans? Well, Resident Evil 4, of course. It's not only the greatest third-person shooter to ever grace us, but also very open to creativity. You can play hide and seek with Ashley by leaving her somewhere or inside a dumpster. You can play duck hunt shooting the crows, ducks not included. You could spend hours at the shooting gallery. You can hear the merchant voice clips for days and not get tired of his amazing voice. You could, play the game. You can fish. You can be Mega Man. You could play one of the best horde modes ever created. You get the idea. I'd never get tired. And also, I'd sneak a copy of Battleborn 2, even after, shove it up there, like Rick Sanchez said to Morty in episode 1. All the way up there, Morty. Good Lord. So Resident Evil 4 all the way up there. Next email, Aroto Tomato Part 2, The Revenge, who says, I forgot to ask, what planet are we talking about? How hot are the aliens there? Are we talking like Asari from Mass Effect? The Krogans? I'm okay with both. Depending on the answer, maybe I won't have time for gaming. I mean, shit, I'm new at this planet. Full of possibilities. Unless it's Mars. Mars sucks. Red-looking shithole. How advanced is the planet? Who's the president? What's the economy situation? Are the schools good? Can we walk around naked? All important questions you didn't answer, you goddamn paleontologist.
Notes, please.
What the fuck? Oh my God. Next email. Brian Eckelman just says, Dwarf Fortress. Thank you. A normal. Just a fucking answer. It's been a while.
What was the game?
Dwarf Fortress.
The fuck is that?
PC game. All right, next is from Talos 167, who says, if I were alone on an abandoned planet, I would want that game to be Grand Theft Auto 5 because I never get bored playing it. GTA 5, never get bored. Also, you might want to drop the volume on your headset a notch or two. I keep hearing myself every now and then.
Oh.
That'll learn you. That'll fucking learn you.
God damn it.
I'm not even going to edit that shit out.
It's not even a headset. It's a phone.
The handset, then. That's what I meant. The handset. The earpiece. Where the words come out. Next email from John Prudlow, who says, Dear SML Podcast, having played Sea of Thieves recently in the beta and after the release, the hype seems real. Really enjoying the open world and would likely choose this game to play if I were on an abandoned planet and only had one game to play over and over again. However, if I was on an abandoned planet, would I even have internet access available? Would I be stranded like the crew in Symmetry? If so, I couldn't play with my friends. I'd have to consider playing a single-player game with loads of replay value. I like open-world adventure games like Assassin's Creed Origins, where the environment and enemies can change. Although it's not considered a survival game like Symmetry, there are survival aspects to it, as there are with most games that involve life and death. There are different kinds of challenges, and the main objective isn't always life or death. Whether or not I win a copy of Symmetry, I'd still want internet access on my abandoned planet so I could continue to watch your streams and have a fun place to hang out during the week. Keep up the good work. So, Sea of Thieves.
Who is that?
John Prudlow. Sea of Thieves and ass kissing.
Yep.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Final entry is from Ray J, who says, I would definitely want Chrono Trigger as the game I'd have to play on an abandoned planet. Multiple endings, great music, great story, awesome characters, and just a fun game from the past, future, and present till the end of time. Oh, man. We have a fucking decision. 4 copies of the game, 7 entries. Holy shit.
Well, Sydney's a giver because of plethora. Plethora? I don't even know the proper way to pronounce the word.
I think John and Oroto should both get one because their entries were just fucking crazy.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So we got one more to go between Dwarf Fortress, GTA 5 because you never get bored, Sea of Thieves and Ass Kissing, and Chrono Trigger because it's one of the greatest games ever.
You did ass kiss.
He did.
We have a standard on this show.
All right, John, you are the fourth. John, you are the fourth and final winner for kissing our ass. Everyone else, great entries this week. I apologize that you didn't win. Ray J, I really liked your Chrono Trigger answer, so I'm going to try and find something to give to you to just give you a shout out for the Chrono Triggerness. Might not be anything good, but, fuck it. If it's a freebie, it's a freebie, right?
Right.
But anyway, that is our giveaway, and now it is review time, huh?
Is it?
Yeah.
Now we have to get to the nitty gritty where we actually try to sound like professionals and do nice things. And
allegedly. So we are going to start off with the game Beast Quest, developed by Taurus Games, published by Maximum Games. It released March 13th on Xbox One, Steam, and PS4 for $39.99. Embark on an epic action-adventure to save the kingdom of Avantia from ruin. Based on the best-selling fantasy novels, Beast Quest comes to Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation for the first time ever, with a rich, progressive storyline, vibrant settings, and an excess of compelling challenges. This is a really cute, nifty game. Basically, this is an action-adventure. When I first started up, I thought, this is going to be like an action-adventure hack and slash. This is going to be like Legend of Zelda. You're a kid who's in charge of saving the world. Its storyline is nothing groundbreaking. We've seen it before, but it's good. It's enjoyable. The big first twist for me came in the combat. It is not a hack and slash game. It is actually turn-based style RPG-ish battles where the screen dissolves into a separate battle scene and you have the enemies scattered about the map. Usually one is right in front and then 2 or 3 are going to be in the background behind, one on the left and right, one all the way behind. So each enemy has their positioning and it's up to you basically to kill the enemies. The attacking is done in real time. So it's not, select attack, wait, but your character doesn't get to really move. So when you're, there's an enemy at the front, that's the one you're attacking. You can use the bumpers to either run to the left or run to the right and attack the people that are on the sides. But for the most part, I was fine. Attack the guy in the front, kill him, wait for someone to step in, kill him, wait for another one to step in, kill him, rinse, repeat, move on. And it works well. There's a dodging mechanic in the game where, if you time your dodges right, you can dodge to the left or the right. You have to pay attention to how enemies are going to attack to know which direction to dodge. You can either just dodge the attack, or if you time it right, you get like a cool bullet time effect where everything slows down. So you get a perfect dodge. And then you have a shot for a counterattack that deals a good amount of damage. The battle system, I think, is definitely something that helps this game stand out among many others in the genre or similar titles because it does something different. I was very happy to see it wasn't just another hack and slash. I really appreciated that. Seriously, Throat, please just fucking work with me. Why did I choose to go first with the review?
Cough drops are things.
Oh man, no, because I have gunk in my throat and it's like syrupy sugar. Yeah, I'm drinking a soda. I'm sure that's smart, but like syrupy things and things like candy are just going to gunk it up more. So I'm trying to chug water. Not working very well.
No.
The beauties of being sick. Hooray. Story is decent enough in the game. The usual go save the world, find friends along the way. Those friends, you don't have a party like in an RPG where they're going to join you in battles, but you can have special attacks where your friends will come out and basically wipe out enemies. Enemies have some enemies have elemental, effects that you're going to have to worry about. So if you're fighting ice enemies, using an ice attack ain't going to do shit to them. The world is littered with keys and treasure chests. Each key, there's like 4 different styles of keys. I think there's iron, bronze, silver, and gold keys. You're going to need the right key to open the right chest. From what I've seen so far, there are significantly more chests than keys in the game, unless like when you beat the game, it just showers you with keys. I'm close to the end. I haven't beaten it yet. So I don't know if maybe at the very end, possibly. Something else I enjoyed with the game is a lot of side quests to do. Every now and then you're going to come into a town. People there are going to have quests for you to do. It does lead to a lot of backtracking and the map isn't the most helpful in the world. The map basically just has a list of, like, a trail of all the campfires you've been to, which are basically like the checkpoints and the saving areas and the warp points. And none of them are really named. So if you have a quest that you got to do, you kind of just got to take a stab in the dark of which of the checkpoints you want to go to, and then hit the back button or the select button, whatever you want to call it, and wait for a little golden trail to pop up and show you which way you got to go. But, you know, side quests, kill things, run around, move on. It's a fun game. I don't think it's going to win any huge awards or anything. $40, I'd definitely give it a recommend to try it. It is a lot of fun, much more fun than I would have anticipated with this. And the battle system, the unique battle system, is a big reason why I recommend it so much, because it's not just a real-time hack and slash game. So props for trying something different, and check it out.
Nifty.
Next game to talk about is called TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge, developed by Kyloton Racing, published by Maximum Games and Big Ben Interactive. It released March 6th on Xbox One, PS4 for $59.99. For some weird reason, it has been listed as $71.99 on the Xbox Store. Has that updated at all yet?
I have no idea about that.
I've tried to ask what the situation is with that, and I haven't got any kind of answer. I'll say now, don't buy it at $71.99, because that is a wrong price. It is supposed to be $59.99. That's what it is in retail stores. That's what it is on PlayStation Network. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
I wonder if there's been like a case where it's been uploaded at $59.99, like, pounds, and then they just let it be converted instead of going in and making it $59.99 for the US.
It's possible.
That seems like a likely...
Either that, or I know the game comes with some kind of bonus DLC. I don't know if the DLC has like a $12 price tag on it that's throwing it off. I really don't know what it is. But anyway, for bikers, there are two types of speed races, the Isle of Man TT and the rest. No race is more difficult. Take up the challenge of the legendary Snaefell mountain course. Is it Snaefell?
I have no idea how to pronounce that.
I'll go with Snaefell mountain course. All 37.73 miles faithfully reproduced with the champions and their bikes. Cole, tell me about this one.
So this is one of those where I tag teamed it with my husband, because I am not particularly good at the vehicles. I do like racing games, but tend to err more on the side of like arcade, and this is certainly far more in the simulator department. So there's a lot of realism, and therefore it can be pretty difficult. This is notoriously one of the most difficult motorbike races in the world. To win this is, to have given it everything. And I'm not capable of that. Not even digitally.
Capable of it.
He did really good, but he didn't win the final race. And there's even an achievement not only for winning the final race, but for winning it in under 3 years in your career.
Oh, wow.
No. That's a rare achievement for a reason.
So they're not fucking around, huh?
So the Isle of Man course is actually 37.73 miles. And for this game, they have completely recreated it using laser scanning technology. So like right down to the damn pebbles is accurate.
Motherfucking lasers and shit.
As far as that goes, this game is gorgeous on the part where like it's the actual track that has been recreated perfectly. There are a couple of fictional tracks based in like Sweden and what have you, and they are not as properly detailed, if you will. Like they just don't feel quite as alive and realistic as the actual Isle of Man track does. It's noticeable when you're on those as opposed to the proper one. However, when you are on the proper one, like you wish you could slow down and just look at shit, but if you do, you're screwed. One of the really neat things they've done here, though, is to give a sense of speed. Obviously, when you're playing a racing game, you pull the trigger and you go fast, and things kind of whiz past you, and they get a little blurry. But in Isle of Man, you're moving at such a speed, the world around you actually just kind of like blurs into a tunnel almost, and it really gives you that sense of, holy shit, I'm moving quickly.
That sounds fucking cool.
It's really incredible. And for those few moments when you can catch that burst of speed, when there's just enough of a straight line for you to do that, you're just kind of taken aback. And so whatever few little blips in the world aren't exactly picture perfect, you're not going to know it.
That is
awesome. They're tough cookie, because you're just going to be blown away by the fact if you sat a fan in front of your face while you were playing, you would feel windswept. You would really just be like, this is it. It's incredible, and it's incredibly well done. For career mode, it's your standard basic campaign. You'll receive invites to participate in certain races, some of them based on real races, others fictional, like I said before. And the goal is just win. If you win, you make money and you keep yourself in the black financially. Although staying in the black is really not the hardest thing in the world. Like, the financial aspect of it isn't weighed as such a challenge as just the race itself is. Like, if you wreck your bike, you're going to get a few little dings here or there, and you may have to, repair it, but the repair fees don't come out of your winnings, so it doesn't affect your overall balance of the game. There's no fretting like, oh, if I wreck them, how am I gonna be able to go to the next event? Or anything. Like, they didn't put that much realism into it.
Well, that's good.
It is good. It's also kind of a bummer, because it would have been neat to have to be like, well, shit, I have to repair. Is it more feasible to repair this bike or buy a new bike? So. It was kind of a missed opportunity, but at least it's not something where you're like, oh, well, I've lost the whole career because I wrecked my bike and I have to start all over again. As pretty as the environment is in the game, I do have to knock off a few points for the animations of the characters. They feel like they've never seen a motorcycle in their life. They're a little clunky and clumsy, and they're just kind of like, sometimes the way they fit in the space with the bike just doesn't work. It is a little funny, though, when you wreck and they go ragdolling.
Now I want to pick this game up just for the ragdolling.
Ragdolls are the best.
They really are.
You go flying over the guardrail, and you fucked up somewhere.
So aside from the character animations, any other negatives, or is this overall a solid game?
Not any overwhelming negatives. There is multiplayer, and the multiplayer does have one drawback in that it is a one race at a time kind of thing. You can't set up a championship and play against the same people for multiple races. It's just, you race, back to the start. You race, back to the menu and pick another race, and it's not, there's no group up with your buddies and see who's actually the best over a series of races or whatever, which would have been nice to have had. I
could kind of understand that, just because I know how long some races could take in racing games, and if you start a 5-game championship and halfway through someone's like, hey guys, I gotta go, kind of fucks it all up. Yeah, it does. But it would be nice to have the option. Just even if it were something more like where Forza has the championship, so it breaks them up over, you can go to it or not to continue. Yeah. Some kind of back out or stop, mechanism for not continuing the championship would be good. But it would have to be voted on by everybody or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a developer. What? But it is. You're not? Yeah, I know. But it would be
nice if there was some way to continue racing rather than having to start from scratch every time.
Nice.
That is really the only thing that we had to complain about it, though.
Well, then,
that and the mysterious price fuckery.
Well, yeah, we don't know what that is. So $60 on this one, or $72 for people who just must own it digital on Xbox. What is your verdict?
A really, really heavily recommended try it. I don't want to flat out say buy it just because of the simulation aspect of it. It can be really tough. And if you're just the kind of person like me who's like casual arcade racer kind of player, you're going to find this extremely difficult and you're going to struggle. Whereas my husband is like, man, switching gears and all this shit. He's just tickled. So I just want to like fall somewhere in between and go for a really high recommended try it.
Sounds good. Well, from a 2-pack of Maximum Games titles to a 2-pack of THQ Nordic, next game to talk about is called Titan Quest, developed by Iron Lore Entertainment, published by THQ Nordic, released March 20th on Xbox One and PS4 for $29.99. The Titans have escaped their eternal prison, wreaking havoc upon the earth. The gods seek a hero who can turn the tide in an epic struggle that will determine the fate of both men and gods. Are you ready for the quest? We covered the 10th anniversary of this one a while back on Steam, so I mainly wanted to talk about with this game the performance on console. I will give a quick rundown. This is an old school top-down action RPG, very similar in the style of something like Path of Exile or Diablo. The one thing people have to remember is this is a game that's like 11 years old. So I was playing online with Carnage and he's like, oh, well, it doesn't have this and it doesn't have this. It doesn't have this. I'm like, dude, the game is 11 years old. He's like, really? It is? So maybe that's one of the first negatives off the bat, is that they are not very clear that this is pretty much a port of a 10-year-old Steam game, a PC game. You know, it's prettied up. It has all the enhancements of the 10th anniversary edition on Steam, but it is still a dated game. For me, because I played the original game, I really enjoyed it. I didn't have a problem with it, but someone like Carnage, who's never played the game before, there's going to be a lot of quality of life changes that you've seen in more modern games that aren't going to be there. But for the people who have an open mind, or people who've played the original Titan Quest and want to see it on console, fucking finally. I've wanted to see Titan Quest on console for since I worked at Best Buy 10 years ago, and they had Titan Quest for the PC, and I wanted to play it. And I didn't have a good enough PC to play it. And I was like, oh, why can't it come to console? I want to play this on my PS2.
Your dreams have been realized, Joe.
Yeah, seriously, fucking finally. So, top-down action RPG, go from town to town. The big difference between something like this and Diablo is that this is all, like, pre-made. There's no random generation. There's no procedural generation. This is what the game is. You go into an area, you kill monsters, you do quests, you move on, rinse, repeat, and you go through the game that way. Skills, you can have a mastery. After a couple of levels, you get additional masteries, just get the skills you like. It's what you would expect from an action RPG, in the vein of like a Diablo or a Titan Quest, because this is one of the fucking originators.
Damn.
There are a couple of downsides with this game. First off, the whole being old thing. The game is dated. It does show off how dated it is in a number of ways. A lot of the menus seem very, very complex and very convoluted. I don't know if there could have been better ways to develop them for the console port, but given how much shit you had to do on PC, I can understand how tough it was to get this to work on console in general. So the fact that it works well enough, I'm kind of happy with. But I know there's going to be people out there who are like, these menus are fucking bullshit. And it's like, why do I have to press this and then do that? It's, again, it is dated. It is dated, but it works well enough for what it needs to do. Online play seemed to work really well. Scott and I were playing for a good chunk of time earlier today. One of his gripes was that if you're a lower level and you want to join your higher level friends, it won't really work well because you can only fast travel to areas that you've been. Like, I was in one town, Scott was still at the beginning of the game. I was able to fast travel back to him. There is no way he would have been able to fast travel to me and where I was. So that's something you're going to have to keep in mind. If you're playing online with friends, lowest level is going to have to take priority, and he'll have to be the host, and you'll have to go with him.
But it's a decade-old game that they stuck multiplayer in, which is impressive.
I'm pretty sure it had multiplayer in the original, I believe.
Really?
I'm trying to well, it was on PC at the time, so...
Still, though. Wasn't like it was overwhelmingly common.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was in the original or if that was an anniversary thing. Now you have me questioning.
Good. Question everything,
Again,
Joe.
the game is 10 years old, so I can't remember all of the details. Some other goofiness with this is the world geometry is kind of weird. There's going to be times that you'll be walking in a straight line, and then out of nowhere, your character walks around something invisible. I don't know if it's like a rock on the ground or a tree that's just not sprouted all the way. There's going to be weirdness like that. And I didn't remember it being so bad on the PC version, but Chris, everybody remembers Chris Huber, he was huge into Titan Quest. He came over, he watched me play. He's like, oh yeah, that's just fucking Titan Quest. That's how it is. That's just what it is. So there's going to be goofiness. There's going to be weirdness. If you are patient enough to stick with it, if you're able to stick with the clunky menus, the text that is usually way too small to read, where even Scott, who's like sitting at his monitor, had to like squint and read shit. If you could put up with it, it is a fucking awesome game. I love Titan Quest. I'm thrilled it's finally on console for $30. If you can put up with the fact that this is a dated game, $30, this is an absolute buy it. Everybody else, a cautious try it, because it's still an awesome game. It's definitely not going to be for everyone. There's going to be people who are just too used to how games are today with all the quality of life changes, the super easy to get matchmaking where you could just drop in directly next to a friend. There's going to be a lot of things that people just don't want to put up with in this older game. But if you're able to put up with it, it is worth it.
Interesting.
And then on to the other THQ game, The Raven Remastered, developed by King Art Games, published by THQ Nordic. This one was out March 13th, Xbox One and PS4 for $29.99, Steam for $19.99. Deluxe edition on Steam includes The Raven and The Raven Remastered, a soundtrack, a digital story and making of books, printable posters, and a papercraft mask for $24.99. London, 1964. An ancient ruby is stolen from the British Museum. At the crime scene, a raven feather. Is someone trying to follow in the footsteps of the Raven, the legendary master thief who disappeared years before? Cole, tell us.
Well, I will tell you that I'm not going to give away any spoilers. And that's important because this is your classic whodunit. This is a mystery game through and through. But it plays as a 3D point and click. So you will play as a Swiss constable by the name of Jacob, and I think it's Zellner, if I'm remembering how to pronounce that right.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. That's as good as it gets with redneck, accent, but you do what you can do. So playing as Jacob, you'll move him around in the world, but basically your goal is just to investigate everything and question everybody in order to, uncover the mystery of what's really going on with the stolen jewel. You will start aboard the Orient Express. Imagine that. How very classic mystery whodunit, to be on the Orient Express going through the Swiss Alps. And really, you're just going to want to,
Wait,
explore.
the Swiss Alps? Does that mean you could find a stranger in the Alps?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think anybody else gets that joke.
No.
The Big Lebowski TV edit thing.
Oh, I've never seen that.
This is why you don't find a stranger in the Alps instead of fuck a stranger in the ass.
God damn it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So find someone in the Alps. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, yes, you're in the Alps in the beginning anyway. And you're going to play this like your basic point and click. You're going to look for key items in the world, combine them as necessary, and just try to solve the various puzzles that are presented to you to get to the ultimate whodunit. For controls and everything, as a remaster, it plays perfectly fine. Your most interactions are going to be, using your analog stick to walk back and forth from here or there, or to manipulate a puzzle somehow, and then your face buttons for interactions. It's not anything that's, daunting or difficult to play in any regard. This is probably one of the most slow, relaxing games that I have ever played. And it was easy to take it in stride and just be like, you know what, I'm going to kick back and I'm going to work on this for a little while. And there's no, combat, no quick time events. It's just take a few minutes, poke around, and see where you think you're going as far as the mystery goes. When you get stuck, the game literally tells you, if you're stuck, take a break and come back later. One of the hints is take a break and relax. So this is really meant to be not at all stressful. And it's a nice palate cleanser when you spend a lot of time playing heavy action games and difficult platformers and stuff. It's nice sometimes to just kick back and be like, I'm just going to go interrogate some people for a little while and just press A and read a lot of dialogue. And that's fine. This is a remaster. The environmental art is gorgeous. Like, I was just like, wow, blown away by some of it. It's not hyper realistic, perfect everywhere. There's a little bit of a cartoony aspect to some of it, but it's not.
I gotta jump in real quick. I don't plan on doing this all the time, but a big shout out to Vertically Impaired, who is the first ever subscriber to us on Twitch.
Yay!
So, what the fuck is everyone else waiting for? Shout out to you, Tony. Thank you for being our first subscriber. You are now immortalized forever in this awful episode of the show. Anyway, continue on. I'm sorry about that.
Enjoy your emotes that I made. Anyway, the environmental art's gorgeous. The character models are a bit of a different story. The faces often are kind of shiny and plasticky, a little stiff. It is fully voice acted, and some of the voice acting, especially with like the kids in the game, just really stunted. And you just kind of have moments where you're like, okay, moving on. I don't want to focus on this, or I'm gonna like turn to stone. There's some really rough art as far as the faces go. But other than that, like I said, if you could focus on the environment and kind of forgive the ugly faces, this is incredibly chill. It's a lot longer than most point and clicks are. It even spans across 3 episodes.
Now, are all the episodes included?
Yes.
Oh, look, No Tie for Games just subbed as well. Looks like I got to give them a shout out as well. I'll just have to do that. Everyone who subs, you're getting a shout out on the show. That's what we're doing.
Carnage did too. Just
motherfucker. God damn it, Carnage.
Anyway.
Tony, you're too good to these people. I don't know why.
enjoy the emote I made, all bitches. Thanks for giving Joe your money.
Yay! Now, people like us.
Stop interrupting me.
Sorry. Well, are all 3 of the episodes included in this? I know originally they were released as separate episodes.
As far as I'm aware, they are. I was at the end of the first episode. And so if I'm going to say yes, and then like I'm going to go start it up, and the second episode's not going to be there, and I'm going to be like, son of a bitch. So if I have to like come back on the weekend and be like, look guys, I was wrong. But I am fairly certain that they are all there, because there are achievements for all of them.
Oh, well, that's good.
So, yeah, so I would assume they're not going to put achievements for episode 2 and 3, and then not include episode 2 and 3. And they're on the menu there and everything. So
nice.
I'm like 99.72% sure.
Close enough.
There's always room for error.
Anyway.
But yeah, like I said, the characters, their faces are stiff, and there's a lot of recycled animations and kind of repeated. But if you're not focusing on that, if you're just kind of like focusing on exploring the world and finding items instead of paying attention to the one dude in the background that keeps doing the same thing over and over with his hands, it's really forgivable, because it is a remaster. It's based on it. It was originally an older game, and so that's just kind of part of the course with something like that. It didn't bother me enough to be like, oh god, this is terrible. So
cool.
Yeah. Want to know what I think about it?
Sure. Tell me. Why not?
I think if you like point and clicks and whodunits, then you should definitely buy it. It's a really good mystery.
I was going to ask you, I'm just afraid of like jumping in to ask, so for $30, what do you think? And you're like, I'm not done yet. Fuck you.
Not today.
I'm just like chilling. So, do you think it's worth, for people who have Steam and consoles, do you think it's worth console fans going with the extra $10 for that version?
I don't know what the difference is between them to justify it.
Platform, I would assume.
Probably.
It's the console tax that happens with games.
I don't see any overarching reason to get it on. If you've got a PC that can run it, save yourself $10 and get it on PC, unless you really want some easy-ish achievements.
But if it's still worth the $30 if people want the console version?
Yeah, if you want the console version, I still say yes. 30 is a bit of a joke. I just really happen to like this genre.
Yeah.
And I like the whole, take it easy. I like that it's not, trying to throw in quick time events or anything just to force you to feel like there's action. It's just, no, this is a puzzle and deal with it. And so I like that aspect of it enough that I think it does justify the price. But I'm also a cheapskate who says if you can run it on your PC and save $10, you should definitely do that.
Nice. Well, we are going to jump over to our pre-recorded reviews because I'm still awful at segues, and I don't know, let's go do those. All right, next game to talk about is called Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, developed and published by WayForward. It released March 20th on the Switch for $19.99. Shantae, embark on a brand new adventure with Shantae, the hair-whipping, belly-dancing genie. When she loses her magic, Shantae must team up with her nemesis, the nefarious pirate Risky Boots, in order to save Sequinland from an evil curse. As a pirate, Shantae gains new weapons to advance her quest, slay monsters, battle epic bosses, and hopefully get her magic back in the bargain. But can she really trust her deadliest enemy? Giving us the answers, Tim Ekibus, how are you doing today?
Good.
Shantae.
See,
you got me started on it, man. You got me started.
That's all I've been thinking about coming, with this review coming up. Shantae.
Yeah. So how is the Switch release of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse?
I have been gradually accruing Shantae games for quite a while now. I got the original Game Boy Color version. I got that on the eShop, the 3DS eShop. I do not.
I was going to say, I thought you owned one. That would have been crazy.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
I know someone who has one.
Yeah.
2 of my ex-girlfriends.
Nice. And I got Risky's Revenge on Steam, which is the second one. I had Pirate's Curse on 3DS, though I never got around to playing it. And then, I played Half Genie Hero last fall on this very show. So yeah, this is me coming back to Pirate's Curse after the game was first released in 2014. Man, it is so good. It is so damn good. Holy crap, is it good? And in fairness, it hit me in this spot right now where I've been playing my GBA a lot. Which is something I mentioned to our what's his face last week. I can't even remember that guy we talked to. While you were getting that giant fucking statue out of your statue museum or whatever. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of GBA stuff, so I've been like really into like that, like proto Super Nintendo aesthetic, like Super Nintendo, but like a little bit better, you know? So this game really hit the spot for me. So got your, I guess what I'd call the trappings of a Shantae game at this point. You have, you know, you don't have your genie powers, no magic. Spoiler.
What?
Yeah, so it's kind of the same power-ups. There's like shampoo and like hair gel for making your hair whip stronger and faster. You know, same cast of characters. You got Scuttletown there. You got a lot of kind of jumping around between levels with like little side questy stuff in between. So it's like, you know, I was on the third island and it came to a point where I had to jump back to the first island and I had to jump back to Scuttletown to finish a quest. You know, jumping around, you gain new abilities, which lets you access secrets, you know, all across the world in every single level as you progress. Like the aforementioned pirate abilities. Yeah, so you find like Risky's gun, which lets you shoot switches that are at a distance. You get her hat, which lets you float over gaps. I just got a down thrust from finding her sword recently. So yeah, and as you get those abilities, you can go back to other levels. You can find more stuff, which will increase your health. There's these little possessed demon pirate fuckers around that you can kill and take their dark essence, which I'm sure that'll turn out great. But yeah, like it for being, it is a bit stretched to meet the size of the Switch screen, but it doesn't look bad. Like I did actually fire up the 3DS version just to take a look at it. And the Switch version, like the characters are a little, like you can see the pixels, which to me is not a big deal. And like, I like seeing that level of detail, you know, with them just being blown up. So yeah, you can see a little bit of the pixels showing through, but that is fine to me.
Pixeling.
That absolutely, sir. The 3DS version, it would put, you know, your map and your items and such on the bottom screen. Here, it's just in the pause menu. I'm shrugging over here. You can't see it. That's the difference. It doesn't matter.
So it's the game we love and we know.
Yeah, but even compared to Half Genie Hero, which is the most recent, the shiniest, newest one, like I feel like the level design is a bit better. And just like the action in general is a lot more interesting. They do a really good job between the levels here. So like the first level, you know, it's a pretty straightforward platforming affair. You get to the second level, and in the middle, you run across your frenemy, Roddy Tops. Still the best name for a zombie chick with a rack, Roddy Tops. She is like her leg, and you have to carry her like through this lengthy platforming sequence. So it's like, okay, you can't attack things, you're just jumping and dodging. So like, that's that kind of like
fucking part of the game.
Yeah, that's like kind of a big centerpiece of that level. But then you get to the next level where you are mistaken for a princess by these desert folk, and they put you in prison to keep you from getting away again. And you have to like sneak out, and there's all this stealth stuff going around in that level. So, you know, it at its base, it's kind of a Metroid-ish puzzle, you know, action platformer thing where, you know, you could the level sprawl in every direction. You know, they have a map, and it's there for a reason for you to look at and be like, okay, where haven't I been yet? But at the same time, they do mix up the gameplay from level to level, I think, a lot better than they did in Half Genie Hero, because in Half Genie Hero it was just pretty much just straight up platforming action levels. But like this variety is something that, you know, it keeps the game fun. It keeps me wanting to play because I want to see what other stuff they're going to do with it. It just looks really good. Like the first level is, you know, this lush green island watery paradise thing. The second level is this spooky forest, and then you're out in the desert, and then you're in some other muck-mire swampland, and they're really good, really detailed. Everything's really well animated. The music sucks. Vert sucks. Fuck Vert. That's a lie. We're friends with Vert, as I'm sure the listeners know. We're friends with Vert. He's amazingly talented.
Sucks. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Worst part of Shantae since the Game Boy Color. No, the music is great as usual. Yeah, it's a lot.
One of my ex-girlfriends, her cart has Vert's signature on it.
Aw.
And that's not mine anymore. She had everything too, like the case, the box,
Man, do you need to work some stuff out here? Jeez, man, this is like some old wounds getting opened up here.
I could buy a fucking car with that thing if I still had it. But, so pretty much it's the game it's the game we all know and love, and if
we all know and love it. I don't know how many people played it on 3DS. I had it due to there was like that one Nintendo Humble Bundle, which was amazing. That's how I got it.
I mean, it's on like almost everything now.
Okay, yeah, well, but now out on the Switch, perfectly good version. Did I infer from your notes that they added that snatchy grabby minigame thing?
I believe so. What's the story with that?
Oh, in the shop, you can pay 10 rupees, and then there's this game where there's a tree on either side of the screen, and you're a monkey, and like rupees fall down, and you hit A, and you'll fly across, and if you grab it, you get the money, and if you miss, then it's game over. So it's a way to accrue extra money and like an extra challenge thing. I played it like twice, and I'm like, I don't like this game. But, it's incidental. They added it to the Switch version of the game for a little something extra, so whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the game is really fun. They try to make them like this, but they don't really make them like this anymore. Yeah.
I still think Pirate's Curse is like the absolute pinnacle of the series so far.
Having played all of them except for Risky's Revenge, I would definitely agree.
Well, $20 your verdict then?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great game.
Shocker,
right?
I know. And then you're here to talk about
for a downloadable Switch game, but it's worth it, man. It's quality.
It's Shantae.
But
you're here to talk about one other game, and that is Cluster Truck, developed by Landfall. It is a great name. Published by Tiny Build. It released March 15th on the Switch for $14.99. Cluster Truck is a chaotic physics-based truck former. Jump your way through insane levels in a game of the floor is lava on top of speeding trucks driven by terrible drivers. Tim, what'd you think of this one?
Oh man. Yeah, so oh boy.
It's a cluster truck?
So yeah, it is a cluster truck. So the way this game works, you start out a level, or the way a level starts out is there's a bunch of 18-wheelers stretched out in front of you in rows of 3 or however many. And they start driving, and inevitably they all fucking crash together. And it is your job to navigate this mess by platforming over the trucks to get to the goal, and that's how you pass a level. Levels aren't very long. Usually it's just kind of a matter of like figuring out the best way to hop yourself from truck to truck to truck. And you just have to get across the finish line. You don't even have to land. You just have to jump your ass across it, which is great. So yeah, it's short little levels. It's going to take you a smattering of seconds to get through them, so long as you get through them. Because if you are not on a truck and you touch the ground, you fail and you got to restart the level. There's it. I mean, that's the game. It's pretty straightforward. It's these 3D first person puzzle challenges.
So is it fun?
It is fun. There's a butt that's going to drop here, but
I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, it's just like, because it's so quick and easy, like it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it's like, you're right back in. It's easy to pick it up, play through a few levels. They got a good number of levels with different worlds kind of backdrop settings. I mean, the graphics are pretty simplistic here. It's not like this lush, crazy stuff. There's like some holiday themed levels, which I would guess were DLC on the PC version.
May have been a free update.
Yeah, well, that's free LC. That's kind of
free LC.
Free LC.
I like that, free LC.
That's included from the start, right there on the main menu. Here's the problem.
We're at the butt. The Eka
one of these things, I think. Well, one of these things they'd better fucking fix, and the other thing would be really nice if they did. So I am a guy who inverts the Y-axis, and that option currently does not work. It's there. You can toggle it. It does not actually invert the Y-axis. The invert X-axis option works. But the thing is, it's in there. It's in the options. Like, it's got to be a bug. Like, I'm sure they're going to fix it.
Yeah.
But it made this game a real pain in the ass for me to play. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. Like,
I'll say now, I'm amazed you were able to play it, because I'm an invert player as well, and as soon as a game shows up without an invert option, I'm like, fuck this, walk away.
Yeah, I mean, they basically don't exist anymore. Like, the first thing I do when I get into a game is go into the options and invert, look for that option, that very thing. But they have to patch it, because it's there, it's in the menus, like, they can't leave that unaddressed. So, like, if you're an invert Y-axis guy, do not buy this game until they fix that. Like, straight up. It is fun, but, like, until they fix that, like, don't even bother. The second thing, though, is I really, really wish there was a way to just straight up remap your controls, because as it is now, you can't, and jump is on a face button along with the camera control. And it would be so much easier if you could map jump to the shoulder button. So that way you could jump and move your camera at the same time a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's like less nitpicky. I think I think games in general should all have button remap options at this point, because just for convenience, and especially for like people with motor problems, like it can be a big help to them in being able to play the game at all.
Oh, yeah.
But, the base of the game is fun. They need to fix that invert Y-axis thing before I could recommend it. If you're not an invert Y-axis person, then it's, it's something to check out, I think, for sure, because it's fun. It's straightforward. You can play it in short sessions. There is a bit of a progression to it. I forgot to mention there's abilities that you can unlock, which let you, I went for double jump first. Go figure. But yeah, there's like a whole array of abilities there that can make your jumping times a little bit easier. As you go along, you can replay levels to re-up your score. And it's fun. I'm always kind of looking for just really simple, straightforward, platformy stuff. So I was excited to check this out, and then infuriated when the Y-axis would not invert. And I tell you, I've been checking like almost every day for a patch to fix that, and I have not seen it yet, which is a bummer.
Well, if we see a patch drop for it, like we did with Slain, you'll have to come back and let us know.
I'll have to talk about it. But I mean, it's pretty straight. If that patch drops, then everybody should check it out. But
so $15 your official verdict?
My official verdict, it's somewhere around try it, because it depends on your controller sensibilities. Really, is what it comes down to. I mean, yeah, if that doesn't sound good, jumping and controlling the camera on the same hand like that, that could be a frustration.
Yeah, I remember when CJ covered that one originally, he mentioned how that bothered him, that jump was a face button and the camera control was on, the same hand, needed to do both.
Yeah.
So
it kind of holds back like the game from maximum enjoyment. So
yeah. And speaking of CJ, he's going to be next. Yay!
Oh, nice! What a freaking segue!
Recording things out of order and then stapling everything together.
I'm crawling over to make the hot tag right now.
Pretty much. Before you make that hot tag, I got to know thoughts on Daniel Bryan.
Oh my God! I just wanted to turn to my wife, who does not watch wrestling, generally speaking. Yesterday, I just kept wanting to turn to her and be like, Daniel Bryan's back. Daniel Bryan's back. I'm still going to go and tell her at some point, because I'm just so fucking excited for Daniel Bryan. Are we doing a WrestleMania show? Because, man.
Please? Can we? Please?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we absolutely can.
I've been saying for how long I want to do a wrestling episode with you.
Yeah, let's plan on that for, before WrestleMania. That's 2 weeks away, but
cool. Let's make something happen.
Other than like this the card is actually shaping up really nice. Other than the like total garbage triple threat US title match, like it's looking pretty damn good.
It is.
Like up and down. It's looking pretty good.
Piggybacking off what you were going to tell your wife, I told my wife, with no lie, a tear in my eye, that Daniel Bryan was cleared and able to wrestle again, and she's just like, who? And you know, it's his dream.
You don't understand.
He hasn't been able to wrestle in years, and he's finally back doing what he loves to do, and it's so happy and wonderful.
He gets to wrestle Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles.
And I love that he's finally medically cleared, so let's beat the fuck out of him.
I know, but that was good. Like, he's so medically cleared, they freaking powerbound him on the apron. They beat the crap out of him. Like, this is awesome. He is in great shape.
I know.
He hit that drop kick in the corner. He flipped over onto his head.
Oh, man.
Dude is ready to go. Best WrestleMania sign point of all time. He didn't even point at it. Just the freaking audience pointed at it.
Oh, it's so good. It was so fucking good. Oh, man.
So good. Wrestling is terrible most of the time. So when shit like this happens, it's so good.
I'm so glad I get to have a couple of moments every now and then on this show to just nerd out about wrestling, because there's a very good chance I discussed it earlier in the show as well. I don't know, because I didn't do that part yet.
We have to look through the veil of time.
Yes. So I guess we will find out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tim, always good having you on. Do you have any final thoughts to wrap it up before we bring CJ in? Surprise, surprise.
Nope, I'm crawling, reaching for the tag.
All right, next game to talk about is called A Medieval, developed by Indefatigable. What a name. Published by New Blood Interactive. It released March 12th on Steam Early Access for $19.99. Once branded a heretic, now you have been chosen. Reclaim our sacred weapons. Take back our ancestral lands. If you can stand A Medieval. Checking this one out. CJ, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's it? Just okay?
You know, it's been a long life.
Okay.
No, I'm doing good.
You're telling that it's been a long life to the guy who just turned 37 over the weekend.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for you, man.
Yeah, I know. So tell me, what is A Medieval?
Well, it's $20 and you should buy it. I know you have to go to bed.
A little more info than that.
No, it's actually like really fucking awesome though. Like, I know I was geeking out last week or whenever the hell that was about that one game, Ion Maiden, which is an old school style game. And this is the same kind of style. And this one, I gave that one like a really good rating. This one blew that out of the water.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, like,
let's start at the top. What kind of game is it?
Well, I mean, I kind of did say that. No. It is an old school first-person shooter.
In the vein of like Wolfenstein, in the vein of Doom, Quake. What era are we talking?
It's hard to identify, really. It's like it's an old school of all of those, but then it gives itself its own kind of vibe that you didn't really see back then. But just with the old school graphics.
Nice.
And I mean, when you first start off, it almost looks more like a roguelike game, but then you discover it's not really that. It is a chapter by chapter campaign game. And cool. I'm sorry, my throat's really fucked up because I had a milkshake and I'm lactose intolerant. So it's making it a little hard to speak.
A very good decision to make.
Yeah, well, you know what? Nobody was feeding me and I needed something.
Oh, poor baby. So
I went to Steak and Shake and bought food.
But
anyway.
I'm not gonna fault you for Steak and Shake. That place is fucking awesome. I miss that, but we don't have that out here.
Almost as awesome as A Medieval. No, this game's actually super solid though. I mean, the enemies have good variety. The level layout and just design is beautiful for an old school game.
What about the weapons? That's what I want to know about.
Okay, well, you can let me finish one part first.
No.
I'm going to go back to the environments and then I'll talk about the weapons. The environments look like new and like fresh and like they're in a new game, but also have that pixelated style. It's really hard to like completely describe it without having pictures because it looks so clean and crisp while also looking old and it makes no sense. And it's beautiful. It's, obviously with a good PC, I mean, the graphics are automatically set on epic for me, and I was just like, this truly does look epic.
Damn. I don't think I've ever heard you geek out about a game like this since Riptide GP Renegade.
Well, this is way more like of a solid, like, this is what you want when you think old school, but give it something new. A lot of the old school games, they still just feel like another old school game without having anything that's differentiating it from the other old school games out there. This one feels like something completely different. And to bring that up, the weapons are really fucking cool and unique, and I like the way they use them. The first weapon you start with made me think the game was going to be super fucking impossible because it's just a melee weapon and the enemies swing a little bit faster than you can. But once you get into the ranged weapons, it's like, oh, this is a whole new game. The first ranged weapon you get is like this mana staff that uses blue mana, and it's not that powerful, but it's like a mini little like SMG almost, but it's also just a staff, so it's really fucking cool.
Nice.
And the bullets just kind of track onto your enemy, so you only have to shoot it in kind of their direction to hit them. Then there's this sword that runs on green mana. And green mana is a little bit harder to find, and you can't carry as much of it, so you got to be a little more careful with using it. But when you swing it, it releases like a green kind of shockwave or energy beam that can hit multiple enemies.
Mm.
And then there's the this one weapon that's my absolute favorite weapon that I found so far, and that is the like this staff that shoots electric, kind of like what you would assume Poseidon would have, some badass shit like that.
Nice.
And it destroys enemies, especially when you get you pick up enough souls from enemies you kill. You can activate this like super mode. I don't remember exactly what they call it in the game, but it's like super powerful, and your weapons do different things, and you can destroy enemies. Like the sword, instead of releasing a shockwave that breaks on impact when you hit an enemy, when it goes through and it bounces on walls, and it can keep hitting enemies and going through a bunch of different enemies and taking everybody out within a few swings.
That sounds pretty awesome. So I'm hearing nothing but good so far. Are there any negatives to this game?
They use the word amid too many times. Is that a negative? No, I really can't think of anything that I don't like. Like, this feels like a full game already, and it's in early access, which actually surprised me. I thought that this was just going to be released because it feels like a released game.
Well, then the only question left is $20. Is this worth the Steam early access initial investment?
I feel like this surpasses that and should just be a buy it.
Makes sense.
I know normally we don't give one of those strict ratings when a game's in early access, but for this one, it's so solid already that I can't think of things to really improve it.
That is some damn high praise, especially from you, because you could get more picky with games.
Yeah, I know. So. I can. That's why this is the true one to buy if you want a good classic game.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, CJ, always good having you on chatting about games. Any final thoughts to sum it up?
Don't get milkshakes before you record podcasts.
All right, next up, joining the show, good friend Royal Sefton. How are you doing today?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
Are you? You hanging in?
Yes.
I'm forgetting things today, like clicking things properly. But you're here to talk about a game with us. But before then, you had some homework to do a while back, and that was to play the Battle Royale mode of Little Triangle. And I got to know, have you done it yet and now at the same time? Yow.
I have, yow. Yes, I have played it, yow. I made good. I think after all the demerits for being late, it's probably still going to be an F for me, but, I'm certainly not going to grade the game that way because it's a lot of fun.
Cool. What did you do in Battle Royale?
So my kids and I played a 3-player game across several of the arenas. We gave it several hours to play, really. I don't even know how many arenas. There's tons of them, and they're all, themed differently. Some based on some of the single player campaign stuff, like they have the Egyptian arenas and stuff. And each one has a different set of weapons or other play mechanics to them. To make them all a bit unique. And the weapons vary from one arena to the next as well. Some will have different types of guns and jetpacks, and others will have like axes and swords. Some will have pit traps or other like fall deaths, and others will be more contained. Some are kind of like a maze. So it's really widely varied. And a lot of fun.
What does it play like a Smash Brothers kind of game or what?
No, it's more insta-kill. And so you basically run out of lives, and whoever is the last one standing wins. So you've got, I'm trying to remember, like 10 or 15 lives or something like that. And eventually you'll run out. But it actually really played, more like, and I hate to keep drawing comparisons, especially to this game, but it's the one I'm most familiar with in this whole genre. Remind me a lot of some of the different modes of Move or Die. You have a few different players. You have an arena. It's very fast paced. You have weapons or other tricks based on the arena, including one where there's a suicide belt. You try to give it to somebody else as you're playing. And yeah, eventually it's just the last one standing. But instead of it being like a single death type thing, you actually have multiple lives. Or there's a level where you keep climbing, but it's not like Smash Brothers, punch and kick, you exceed the 100%, you knock them out of the arena. It's nothing quite like that. Yeah. No, it's much more frantic, much more arcade.
Nice.
Than all that. Yeah.
Good stuff. So, overall, do you think that the Battle Royale mode makes the entire package a better package?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it an even better couch game, because the single player mode especially is a decent, enjoyable little romp. When you make it multiplayer, it gets a lot more interesting and more complicated. And then when you add Battle Royale to it, it's practically a party game. Yeah. So to me, it's a resounding buy it.
Cool. I'm so happy that you were finally able to talk about that.
Me too, because I enjoyed it.
Better late than never, right?
That's right. So, hey, reminder, if you haven't already bought Little Triangle, now you should.
There you go. And if you didn't already buy it, why?
Why?
Like we did a review, we did an interview. Like, what more do you need from us?
I'll be back next month to talk about it again.
How needy are you? But you are here to talk about a new game as well, and that is called Trials of the Gauntlet, developed and published by Broken Dinosaur Studios. This one came out March 16th on Steam for only $1.99. In Trials of the Gauntlet, you wake up in the courtyard of a steampunk mansion, your arm replaced with an electric grappling hook. You use your new arm to solve puzzles, traverse the mansion, and fight your way to the top of the clock tower. Why can't I talk? Trower?
Clock tower?
Did I just say clock tower? You know
what I should say, but I probably shouldn't.
Before we start recording, I want to just address this quick. Before we start recording, I was playing a VR game that I'll be talking about after all of these pre-recorded interviews. That's how self-aware I am right now. And it fucked me up really good. So I've been kind of tongue-tied. There's a clip of it on our Twitter if you want to look that out. But I'm spoiling what's coming in a few minutes. But nice. Fight your way to the top of the clock tower, where you confront the mad scientist who did this to you. Royal, tell us about Trials of the Gauntlet.
Oh, God. Okay. So, Trials of the Gauntlet. Having read up on it a little bit, it's a student effort. And I mean that both lovingly and informatively. So when I give recommendations for games that are kind of like amateur projects like this, it's a guarded reservation. So you have to understand what we're basically looking at here is a midterm project made by a small team that looks like there's definitely room for some more polish, but as far as a game goes, it is definitely the beginning of something that could be great. As the game's described, you kind of have this sort of steampunk, anachronistic look and feel. It's very much a pixel art type game. And sort of a side-scrolling platforming type thing. It could very much be a Metroidvania if it were big enough, but again, midterm project, it's pretty short actually. So you start out outside this castle, you find your way in, you have to do a couple things to find your way to the top, and after that boss, you're done. So it's about a 90-minute to 2-hour game at most.
Which really, that's $1 an hour.
Yeah, again, not terrible, really. I mean, it's a very inexpensive game. It's $2 on Steam. So,
yeah.
I mean, in that sense, it is, I think, a good way to support a student effort, an indie effort. it was fun. There were some things about it I enjoyed, and the first time when I tried to play it, because there were several updates that were thrown out when I was first handed this for review, and I waited for a lot of those updates to pass and for the game to go live to really give it a good
fair shot.
Yeah. I got pretty frustrated with the play control, so it took a little time to get used to that. But what surprised me is after I got past that initial hump of, okay, I really suck with this grappling hook thing, then it kind of became almost an obsession. I had to see this through the end. And I have to admit, I mean, I had fun on the way. There were definitely, I think, some ideas that could have been better executed, but there were some that were very well executed. Again, I think it could just be that the only game with a grappling hook that I'm even remotely familiar with is Bionic Commando for the NES. Mm-hmm. And I was okay at that. But it was also a much simpler play mechanic. You turn one way or the other and you shoot it out 9 degrees or based on how you position. In this case, it's sort of like a mouse and keyboard gameplay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you have this reticle on the screen and you move it around with the mouse, and that determines not only where you're going to throw your grappling hook out and try to attach, but also which way you're facing, too. There was when Half-Life 2 first came out, there was a computer game that had a very similar play mechanic. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was like Operation Freeman or something. And you would essentially walk around with the WASD keys and use the mouse to point where you were going to shoot, whether with a gun or with the gravity gun or something. Same concept there. And for me, I actually found it was easier to get the Steam controller hooked up and set a config so that I could play it a little more effectively. I'm okay with a first-person shooter, but for the nature of this game, it felt more natural to use a controller.
Yeah.
And I was pleased to report that, I mean, it wasn't that hard to really get it working with a controller, too. So that helped.
Maybe they'll look into some native controller support as well.
It's like I said, I mean, it's not the most polished effort, but at $2, it's certainly not the worst thing you could do with a little bit of spare time, and you're supporting what I think is probably going to be a few fairly promising careers.
Yeah, well, normally I would ask you for your recommendation on this game, but at $2, I'm going to override whatever you say and say, fuck it, why not? Because it's $2. Just buy it and support these students. Their names are all listed on Steam. I can't wait to butcher some of these, but Patrick O'Connor, Joshua Siscalo, Christian Hall, Arthur Parker, Dorsey Ledger, Natalie O'Connor, Landon Creech, Nathan Andre, Cassandra Doinick, I told you I was going to fuck one up. And Nicholas Kovacevic, another hard one. But those are the team members of Broken Dinosaur Studios. How would you grade them?
Oh, gosh.
Instead of a rating, how would you grade them, Teacher Sefton?
I'm thinking A- because the game mechanics are there. I'm sure they were probably busting their ass to get this done within a pretty limited time frame. And it is a game from start to finish, mission accomplished. And it doesn't feel like anything is glaringly wrong or missing. I did run into a couple funny bugs every once in a while.
So it's a D+ best.
No. I gotta knock off a couple points because there were some things that could have been fixed or maybe improved. But so the music was sometimes good, but it was sometimes a little too repetitive. And some of the sound.
I knew a musician I could recommend to compose music for him.
Let me think. It's on the tip of my tongue of somebody, I think.
Oh, I know. Their name is half of my reviewers.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, aside from just a few things that are kind of incongruent or inconsistent, it's like you go from a scene to another. You're in pixel art, and then the cutaway is something that looks very much hand-drawn, and these fonts that are not pixely kind of pop out. They don't look quite right. It's little aesthetic touches and things, and that's the kind of polish that you probably wouldn't expect on a midterm project anyway. Yeah. So I'd give them an A-.
Well, for their final, where they have a more polished game, I look forward to checking that one out. But Royal, always good having you on chatting about this stuff. You have any final words to sum it up?
Yeah, how do you break a dinosaur?
Is there an answer to this, or is that your final word?
No, it's just your moment of zen from me. That's all.
All right, we are back with us. Hooray! For fourth wall breaking and referencing other shit that happened and other... Wasn't all of that really funny, Cole?
Yes, very funny.
It really was.
What are we laughing about?
I just realized I mentioned the whole Daniel Bryan thing with Tim Ekibis, and I didn't mention that earlier in the show, so I fucked up my own self-references.
Fantastic.
By the way, Daniel Bryan was cleared to wrestle finally this week after like 2.5 years of being forced into retirement, and I was fucking excited. So there, that's what I mentioned with Tim.
I don't understand the wrestling.
It's wrestles. Basically, a wrestler that everybody loved was forced into retirement due to concussion issues, and he kept fighting and fighting and fighting and refusing to give up that he was never going to wrestle again. And he recently got cleared to return to wrestling.
Yay.
So a lot of people are excited. I told Tim, like, no lie, I fucking cried when it was announced. I was so goddamn happy for this guy. Because I'm wearing a Daniel Bryan shirt right now. So all the Yes shirts that you see me wear, that's Daniel Bryan. I'm so fucking happy for the guy that he's able to go back and do what he loves again. And then they beat the fucking holy hell out of him on wrestling that night.
Time for a new concussion.
Forced into retirement, come back after 2.5 years, immediately get the shit kicked out of you.
Jeez.
Fucking love it. But I guess that shows he is cleared to wrestle. But next game to talk about is called Vala, Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse, developed and published by Rogue Code. Released February 26th on Steam, March 16th on Xbox One for $14.99. This week's, the world's best mass llama slaughter roguelite-like-ish couch co-op top-down twin-stick shooter. Vala is a frantic top-down shooter where you remotely pilot an endless supply of mechs from your ocean corner offshore of the apocalypse, fighting through the llama hordes to take down the Llaminati. First off, if you guys didn't listen to the interview that we did with Matt at Rogue Code, you need to fucking go listen to that chat. Carnage was there. It is nothing but puns and stupidity, and it is fantastic. The game itself, also fucking fantastic. It's a twin-stick shooter. You pilot a mech. You murder endless hordes of llamas. They fucking try and kill you, and you just gotta kill them instead. It is ridiculous. I can't even talk about the game without giggling because it is such a goofy premises. Basically, llamas are in charge of package deliveries from Lamazon. Yes, Lamazon. And instead they have an uprising, and you got to figure out why the fuck it happened. You go through a handful of city blocks, I believe 10 city blocks, and then you go through some final areas and complete a stage. It is tough. You are going to get your ass kicked a number of times. This is something we talked about in the interview. Even on the easy difficulty, it took me, I think I told Matt when I finally did it, I killed like 13,000 llamas before I finally beat the first of the 3 districts in the game.
You monster.
It is fucking hard. This is not an easy game, but power-ups in the game, a lot of different power-ups. As you blow shit up and you break things in the game, you might eventually see a weapon drop or an ability drop. Passive abilities just stick with you through the entire run, where, it might be something where you get a shield when you recharge, or when you do a ground pound, it has a little flame burst around it. Just stuff to help you out to do better in your game. The weapon drops, those last until you pick up a new weapon. You have one on each trigger, so left trigger, right trigger, and it's all about finding good combinations. I think I mentioned this in the interview. One of my favorite combinations was a freeze ray and a machine gun, because you could freeze things and then immediately shatter them. And that's one of the combinations that actually helped me get really far in the game. Aside from that, it is satisfyingly fun to just roam through a city, kill llamas, break shit, blow up cars. It's fun. I don't know what else to say about this game other than it is ridiculous. It is absurd. It is fun, and it is absolutely worth $15. So buy Vala.
Nice. That's a pretty glowing review right there.
I'm trying to think what negatives I have. The only negative I really have is it's fucking hard. That's it. Other than that, I'm addicted to it. Everyone I've shown the game to is like, dude. Chris came over, of course, because when anyone ever goes, dude, it's Chris. So he came over, he watched it. It was, oh my God, it was just so fun. Carnage, a game where you kill llamas where PETA won't come after you. Pretty much. Next game is called Signs of Darkness, developed and published by Press Pause Games. It released December 15th on Steam Early Access for $19.99. A quick excuse as to why it took us so long to cover this. We got this one, I believe, in January sometime, and Dark Mika is covering this one. And she was actually visiting family for a good stretch of time, I think the entire month of February, something like that, and didn't have access to her actual computer. And this wouldn't run on that one. She talked with the developers. They know that this review is this late, so it's not like we're just slacking off at what we do. I mean, we do slack off.
We're totally slacking off.
We do slack off at what we do, but we have a reason this time. Anyway, kidnapped and thrown into the dark depths of the Undercrypt to die, you are rescued by an unknown ally. Eager to find the motive behind your abduction, you are set out on an unexpected journey. Master sorcery and swordsmanship to overcome the evil forces to put an end to your, or that are out to put an end to your existence. Cole, read this one.
I'm reading. Signs of Darkness is a third-person fantasy RPG that's currently in early access. You play as an amnesiac who has woken up in an underground cave with some guy who knows generally who you are. You're apparently the apprentice to a super powerful, amazing wizard, and a band of goblin mercenaries were hired to get rid of you. For, reasons? And your boss, teacher, all-powerful wizard asshole, he doesn't bother to save you or even notice that you're fucking gone. And that's about the end of the story as far as I'm concerned. This game shows in every aspect that it's in early access, and that's not in the good way, if there is a good way. This game was really more of a chore than anything. Nothing in it pulled me in at all, which is saying something since I'm like the queen of RPGs. I love this shit. I live for it. I've put thousands upon thousands of hours into RPGs since I was a teen on the PS2. This was a chore, and that makes me sad.
That is a bummer because she specifically wanted this game.
Yeah. The game in and of itself isn't necessarily bad. There are some annoying issues, but I think most of them will be fixed before it comes out of early access. However, almost everything about the game otherwise is rather bland. The story as listed above, nothing really grabs you or honestly matters that much to you, the player. The music for the game is one song that never fucking shuts the fuck up. Some games can work with one song on repeat for hours. This really isn't one of them. There are frame rate issues across the board, from fighting to walking around to looking around, like just moving the camera from one side of the room to the other side. The frame rate issue is really not acceptable. One of the major reasons, other than when it's this bad, it ruins any game. But this one in specific has Dark Souls style combat. It focuses on dodging, then stabby time. It's really hard to dodge when your frame rate goes to shit in every single, and I mean that very specifically, every single fight. Every last one. All of them.
I wonder if there were any that it didn't.
I mean, it's a capital all, Joe.
I don't know. I bet there were one or two.
All. All. A-L-L. All. You need a decent graphics card for this game, and I'm not sure why. Visually, even on higher settings, it's just okay. The environments, albeit there are a bunch of them, they're all fairly bland and generic looking. Load times are a bitch. Every house, every dungeon, entering or exiting, all loading screens, and it just takes a long time. I went into a house and it took so long I took a potty break and came back and still had to wait for it to load. These houses aren't like Skyrim where you can pick everything up, and the houses aren't big. You can't even interact with most of the stuff in the houses. I don't understand the loading times. They're large, but I can't see any possible reason for it to be the case. I mean, you can't interact with 90% of the characters even. They're just set pieces. You can't even hear talking to each other or anything. Only a few interact with you, and that's for quests. The story was provided, well, you saw what I wrote. That's all the story I got for a while, and none of it was presented to me in such a way that made it matter. Instead, all I felt was, okay, I guess that's a backstory, whatever, and I moved on. Nothing stuck or mattered, yet you get fragments of the story from people after you completed side quests for them, but it's never anything important or useful. So the story ended up feeling like a chore. That being said, though, apparently it picks up a lot later in the game, but I couldn't stand the game long enough to get to that point, and I don't think most will. For $20 on Steam, I really can't say to buy this as it is right now. That being said, the dev is on top of this stuff and constantly working on it. I think by the time it leaves early access, this dev could really bring it around and make it really good. But without psychic powers, I can't be sure that it will, so I can't tell you to put your money into this. I'll be reviewing this when it moves to full release, and then I'll have a definitive answer on if the game is good enough to buy or not. I hope it is. I want this to be good, but currently it needs a lot of work to even be playable, let alone enjoyable.
Ah, man. That is.
But damn, I get guilty even when I'm not the one that wrote it.
I know. People listening to the MP3 of this can't see any kind of facial reactions, but the entire time you're reading it, I'm just like grimacing, like,
yeah.
ow.
You can't see mine either, and I'm just like,
I hate giving bad reviews, and it seems like we had a stretch where everything was buy it or try it, or even like the lowest was like, maybe try it. It's okay, but yeah. We've had a stretch of a couple episodes now with a bunch of deny it's, and I don't like it.
Been a tough little row there.
Yeah, so hopefully, again, this is early access. Hopefully they could turn it around. They could take the feedback. Hopefully some optimization will fix loading times. Story, because it's early access. There might not be any story in it because it's early access. So story, I wouldn't count anything out based on story. Because I know a lot of
early
games...
access can be hit or miss too, because some games are just willing to like put everything out there right away into early access. Like you see Playbook on Xbox, and it's, all of its achievements and everything are just laid on the line from the start. No. And then you have other games that are just like, you know what? We're not even going to give you all of the available game modes. Like the Darwin Project doesn't have duos yet. It just has, individual players right now.
Yeah.
And we have to wait until later to get an update to bring duos. I think they did a trial run this weekend on Steam, but Xbox is way down the line before we get anything like that. So, even between games and developers and stuff, there's a lot of back and forth on what a game being in early access even means.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's one of the downfalls of early access. You never know what you're going to be buying into, but hopefully these guys turn it around and it turns into something good, because it's never fun giving a bad review. And I'm glad that... The
plus of it, too, though, is like, if they're on a bad path, if enough people have already bought into it, they're going to be invested, and they're going to be like, no. We paid for this, and this isn't what we want. Then, good devs will listen and make changes based on that.
Oh, well. Anyway, we have one final game to talk about. This isn't necessarily a review, but we were recently given this game on PlayStation VR, and I did want to talk about it on the show. It is called Don't Knock Twice, developed and published by Wales Interactive. It came out September 5th, Xbox One, Steam, PS4 for $19.99. Includes VR support for PlayStation VR, Vive, and Oculus. To find and save your daughter, you will explore all the depths of a grand manor house, searching for hidden clues and wielding items to fight or escape the terror that surrounds you. One knock to wake her from bed, twice to raise her from the dead. Cole, I know you reviewed this one a good while back. Mm-hmm. Did you want to give people a primer on it before I talk about my VR experience? Just because I didn't beat the game. I played it for like 45 minutes on stream. Off stream, I played for maybe another half hour or so. I'm a pussy. So
yeah.
So give us a quick rundown of what the game is.
So the game itself is based on the movie of the same name, which is in turn based upon a grim folk legend, urban legend type thing of the Baba Yaga. And So you were very worried about ghosts, but there's not particularly any ghosts in this particular story. It's essentially a walking sim as far as the game itself goes. You do explore the house and uncover the story of an artist who struggled with drug addiction and lost custody of her daughter. And then some shit goes down that results in her daughter being involved in a ritual who, as a teenager, she's regained custody of her now that the main character has cleaned up her act, if you will. And there's a lot of strife between the mother and daughter in this game, and it does lead down a path of the daughter being involved in a ritual to summon the Baba Yaga. And
which explains the pentagram I ran into shortly before the stream ended.
And so that's ultimately the whole groundwork for it, and the goal of the mother is to stop the ritual to save her daughter.
Gotcha. So based on what you saw me playing, is the game more or less the same between VR and non-VR?
Yeah, it's other than the mechanic of I wasn't able to flip off the light with my index finger.
Yeah,
it's basically the same. You carry around the light, like the lanterns in the or the candles in the hallway, and uncover certain puzzles.
VR. I'll go into my thoughts on the VR. The VR, first off, the controller implementation was weird. I first started playing with just a DualShock, and I couldn't even figure out how to open the front door of the building. Like, I tried grabbing with it. I tried doing everything, and it just wasn't working right. So pretty much immediately I quit back to the main menu, turned on my Move controllers, and went with that way instead. Even with the Move controllers, for like the first half of my stream, only one Move controller was registering that it was on, which I like both controllers in my hands because I could look down under the VR headset and see that both of them were on. Both of them were synced up to me. And then just mysteriously after like 20 minutes, the other one started working because I noticed the hand just showed up out of nowhere. The video should be still, the VOD should be on Twitch if people want to go back and look at it and get some laughs at me. I think I even remarked like, oh my God, the other one's working now.
Yeah.
Tracking is, the same mixed bag you're going to get with PSVR tracking. The camera is shitty. Move controllers are over 10 years old, so it's not going to be the most accurate thing. When I got all the lights turned off, I think it worked better than it was normally. At least I would hope so. Gameplay seemed fine. Teleport to an area, interact with stuff. Teleport to an area, interact with stuff. There's no manual locomotion, so there's no using the analog stick and moving around. It's possible that you could do that with the controller. I still couldn't figure out a way to get in the fucking house though. Game in VR, holy shit, it is creepy. Having a headset on, hearing the 3D audio of the PlayStation VR, like when I heard creaks behind me, I knew exactly where behind me they were. It wasn't like, oh, well, it's somewhere behind me. It's like, it is from where I'm standing, it is at like 630 behind me. Like if you're looking at it is creepy how precise the audio is with the PlayStation VR. And it creeped the shit out of me. Obviously the highlight of my streaming time, besides all the goofy shit I was doing, was, you have a cell phone in the game. And the VR conditions you to know that it is pretty much hanging on your belt. So you would look down and grab your phone and check it whenever it would buzz and have a message. The one time I looked down and there was a baby there. And I lost my shit on, I think my exact quote was, Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck? I may have a word or two wrong there, but I know that Jesus fucking Christ was there. That scared the shit out of me. It really did. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, oh, I was just doing that for life. That scared the shit out of me. I didn't expect it. The game was creepy as hell. In VR, if you've got a VR and you're looking for a creepy experience, I think it's definitely something worth looking into. What did you give the original game? Do you remember?
I think I may have given a try it. I think it was because of the shorter nature that I was kind of, because if you're playing this on an Xbox or something like that, and like you're just trying to roll through it for achievements, it's like a 20-minute completion or something like that.
Oh wow! Yeah, and I spend a lot more time than that.
Yeah, like if you're playing it to actually enjoy it, you're gonna take a little longer. But it was kind of crazy for like a game based on a movie to be so quick, and I was just like, oh.
How far did I make it through on the stream? Was I like halfway through it?
No.
No, not at all.
You didn't even get to like some of the puzzles to stop the ritual.
Oh Christ! So VR, you could easily dump a couple hours into the VR version.
Yeah. If you're gonna take your time and legitimately look for things to creep you the fuck out and stuff, you're gonna spend a lot longer on it.
And you know, some of this stuff I was playing up for the stream and being goofy and being funny. But that baby,
like when you flip off the lamp.
I so wish you could flip off things in the game. Like when you press the one button on the move controller, you point like, I want to move that way. It's how you teleport around the room. And I would just like point upwards at things. So I pretend I'm flipping things off because I'm a moron and that's what I do. But what did you think of the VR watching me?
I thought the VR, like, for the environment itself was really good. Definitely on par for, or at least comparable to some degree to like the Xbox version I played. I thought the whole teleporting movement thing was odd though. That's not something that's not something I was familiar with, and so it was very like disjointing to watch you do the move and point and teleport, and I was just like, that's very immersion breaking to me. But that's again because I'm not used to VR. I'm not that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how a lot of games are in VR, just because the act of moving in a game without moving for real gets people motion sick.
Yeah.
So that's why they have shit like that in VR games. Some games have real movement with it. I'm not very good at those because my stomach hates things, but yeah, I thought Don't Knock Twice was a pretty fun, entertaining VR experience that made me pee a little bit, just a little
So
driplet.
there was fear. That's the important thing.
A little drip. There was a fear drip.
I watched the stream, so I'm aware that there may have been more than a drip or two. There was some genuine concern.
Oh man. Well, that is it for this episode. Thanks again to everyone for dropping by the show, between CJ, Tim, and Royal with the reviews, Alexandra for the chat at the beginning of the show, and you for hanging out for the entire thing.
Yay!
You were here for the interview too.
I was. I feel special, like a real co-host.
At fucking 5 a.m. when we did it.
Oh, please don't ever make me do that again.
Well, next time there's an interview at 5 a.m, I will be sure to let you know. But again, that is it. Thanks again to everyone for dropping by. Cole, do you have any final words to end it?
Thank you, fuckers, for subbing. That's awesome.
That is awesome. So yeah, thank you, fuckers.